Whoa, hello. We are live. We are alive and thriving today. Um, yes, welcome everyone to the massive ranking of all 2024 new releases I saw. We have 222 films to go through today, so yes, this should be fun. Sorry for the delay. I accidentally had it live stream ready to go, and then it was on private, and then it messed up, and my mic was being dumb. So yes, um, must keep my throat not scratchy because this is going to be long as shit. Um, but yes, so I saw 222 movies this year. I've already done my most surprising, most disappointing, top 20 best and worsts, and then my top 10 most anticipated for 2025. If you would like to check those out, that would be greatly appreciated. Those ones are videos, not live, because I actually can edit that, and I don't want to spend 5 years of my life editing this. Um, but yes, so I'm probably gonna fly through the bottom 20 and the top 20, but we still have 182 movies to discuss then. Oh, so yeah. What's up, Fox? Hey, Anthony, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by the live right here at the beginning. You'll probably come back in like 6 or 7 hours, and I'll probably still be sitting here. So yeah, I'm gonna be here for a while. Thank God I don't have anything to do until I have to go to sleep at like 10 p.m. tonight. So I have all the time in the world. Oh God. But yes, 2024. It was a good year for film. Um, I mean, I saw a crap ton of movies. Never mind. I'll get to that later. Yeah, I saw a lot of films. Obviously, it was a while though into the year until I like genuinely loved a movie. Right? I think it wasn't until like March or April that there was a movie. I was like, yes, I love that. There was just a lot of like okay stuff. So a little bit of a rough start, but then towards the end of the year, we had a ton of heavy hitters. Um, and excuse me again, but yes. Let me see. Yeah, yeah, a lot of the stuff towards the top of my list is mid to late year stuff. So yeah, then a lot of the bottom of the list is not good stuff. So it's gonna be a while. Just like 2024, it's gonna be a little bit in this list till we get to some really good stuff. But yes, I would also like to make a disclaimer for part of this too. Um, some of these films I saw at Fantastic Fest this year, or not this year, but last year, 2024. Some of these films haven't released yet. Some of them don't even have distribution yet. So I have absolutely zero idea when they're going to release. But I saw them this year, so I'm including them on this list. If they release this year in 2025, I will not. They will not be contenders for anything on my 2025 ranked list. This will pretty much be the one time I talk about them. So yeah, that's how it goes. And I guess that is it. So let's start this. The bottom 20, kind of fly through these because I've already talked about them. But number 22, the worst movie I saw this year is Baby Invasion. Saw this at Fantastic Fest. There's like no plot to this film. It is essentially GTA missions with everyone having a baby face the entire time and like flashing lights, like inverted colors, booming dubstep music, with a voice narrating "the rabbit is in the hole." It like repeats that line like 57,000 times. Yeah, this is the only movie that I can actually remember wanting to walk out of because it was like making me physically ill to watch this film, and I had a solid headache for like 24 hours after watching this film. And like I said, my worst of the year list, my silver bullet for this one is Corey Feldman was in the theater watching this movie with me, and he walked out. So if Corey Feldman walks out of your movie, there you go. 222. I almost said 122. Oh, we got a while for that. 221, Cinderella's Revenge. It's like one of these public domain things of, oh, look, Cinderella. Oh, let's make it horror movie, right? I knew this was going to be trash when I watched it. It's trash, but then it has some pretty baffling ideas in there to where the fairy godmother like summons Elon Musk for part of it to, I don't know, give her a Tesla to ride to the ball in or something. Pretty bad and just really baffling ideas that just don't make sense and don't enhance the film whatsoever. 220, almost making the worst, like bottom of this list is The Mousetrap, the really bad Steamboat Willie horror film. Yeah, this one also has a lot of baffling ideas. It's essentially a security guard that wears a hockey jersey with this crappy mask on it. And he can teleport and talk over the intercom at will. I don't understand. Like, this is insanely bad. Like, insanely bad, incompetent, and I don't know. I just like, this is the type of stuff that makes the public domain horror movie stuff look like absolute trash, right? Like this and the first Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and the Cinderella's Revenge is the type of stuff. Now, you'll see Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 a lot higher on here. I actually enjoyed that one quite a bit. And then I'm actually looking forward to Screamboat, the Steamboat Willie movie with David Howard Thornton playing the Steamboat Willie. There was an image released of him like that. I'm pretty interested in that because I like David Howard Thornton. Love Art the Clown, obviously. We'll talk about him way later. But yes. Yeah, Mousetrap, it's like the epitome of crappy public domain movies, right? 219, Camp Pleasant Lake, crappy Friday the 13th ripoff where people are, I don't, like the most memorable scene because of how dumb it is these people sitting around a campfire telling a story of this killer guy here. And then the killer guy shows up. No one thinks it's him. He kills a guy and everyone thinks it's a joke and it's a prank. And they're like, oh, do that to me. Do that to me. And then he just kills all these people around the campfire because everyone thinks it's a joke and no one gets scared by him. So pretty bad. Friday the 13th ripoff insults me as a Friday the 13th fan. And can we just please get an actual Friday the 13th movie? 218, He Sees You While You're Sleeping, the crappy streaming Christmas horror movie this year, but this one is like probably one of the worst ones I've seen. Yeah, it has like nothing to do with the killer Santa. It's just these terrible actors in this really crappy house environment talking and having really bad acting on display. And then the killer Santa is like 10% of the movie. 217, Harold and the Purple Crayon. I don't know why I went to see this movie. Actually, I do know why. I went to go hate watch it because I heard how bad it was, but I still don't understand why I went to go do that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's Zachary Levi playing a man-child, you know, the thing that the shtick he's been doing for like the past decade at this point. And it's just bad. It is just bad. I don't think the Harold and the Purple Crayon stuff translates well to live action. And I didn't enjoy this one whatsoever. 216, Beautiful Wedding. I didn't realize this was a sequel until after I saw it. I would go see this because I like Virginia Gardner, the lady right there. And it was just boring as hell, just boring and dull as hell. These two people go off to an island, get married, all their friends are there, get into shenanigans. That's it. Just very boring and dull. 215 is Thorns, kind of like Hellraiser light. You also have Doug Bradley in there on the super low res poster because no one gives a shit about this film. Essentially, this like space station thing gets a like signal from outer space, and if you listen to it, you become like that low res dude at the top there, with thorns in your eyes. And then there's like a cult aspect to it, and like they want to take over the world. It's just very anticlimactic and not that interesting. The practical effects of the Thorn monster were pretty cool, though. It was a pretty badass design. I'll give it that. But I saw the twist coming a mile away. Because the whole thing about the world being taken over by this cult is a whole twist. And, like, when people listen to it, they'll put on the headphones and just go like that. That's like them listening to it. They just like have a seizure of the head. So yeah. Number 214 is Madam Web. Yeah, I don't have much to add onto the hate pile for this movie. Pretty bad movie. One of the worst comic book movies I have ever seen. This movie has been memed all to hell with how bad it was. And this movie made me feel bad for how low of a score I gave Morbius. And I think I gave Morbius like a 1.5 stars on Letterboxd. And I felt bad about that. And so congrats, Madam Web. You made me feel bad for Morbius. 213, Borderlands, one of the worst video game adaptations I have ever seen. I have never played a Borderlands game. I thought this was going to kind of be like Guardians of the Galaxy light type stuff. But yeah, just not very good. I mean, everyone kind of hated this movie. I had no faith in this, like whatsoever. 212, The Exorcism, new Russell Crowe Exorcist movie. I was actually at a 4th of July party this year talking about this film, and everyone thought I was talking about the Pope's Exorcist from a few years ago. I was like, oh, no. We have a new one with Russell Crowe. New Exorcist movie with Russell Crowe. This one, they're like remaking The Exorcist. Like he's an actor in a movie, and he's like on the set of this film, and they're remaking The Exorcist. That was kind of interesting. I'll give it that. But it's literally just generic Exorcist stuff, not interesting. I mean, I like Russell Crowe, so there you go. 211, Steppenwolf. This is the Kazakhstani film I saw at Fantastic Fest. Insanely nihilistic to the point where I just couldn't get any enjoyment out of this film, like whatsoever. Yeah, and I watched this like right away in the morning, so it was like great way to start the day. Watch this movie of extreme nihilism where a dude throws a grenade into a family that did nothing wrong because he just felt like it. So yeah, that was awesome. 212, Dear Santa. Not 212, 210. God, if I'm messing up this early, what am I going to be messing up at like 6 p.m.? 210, Dear Santa, this Jack Black Christmas movie where he plays Satan and he gets summoned because the kid has dyslexia and writes to Satan instead of to Santa. So my head is very itchy today. I don't know why. Oh no, I'm messing up my hair. No. Yeah, pretty boring as hell movie and just like painfully unfunny, which sucks because Jack Black was in it. 209, Origin, the movie about based off true events where this woman here is a writer. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, her husband's John Bernthal in the movie. So that was kind of cool to see John Bernthal, however you want to say, the Punisher guy, right? That was kind of cool to see him. He's in the movie for like 20 minutes, though. So yeah, maybe it's not that good. Maybe. So after John Bernthal left this film, the movie's bad. Anyways, she is a writer that wants to write a book about caste. And yeah, like the last 45 minutes just becomes like a voiceover of this author writing her book, and it just becomes like a documentary type thing. And it was just insanely boring and like very, very like hammering you over the head with the message. And I don't really want to go to a movie to see like messages and stuff of real world issue thing. If that makes sense, right? Like there's a way to do it, but not like if you just sit there and like explain it to me like this movie does, right? Like you can do it in a right way, but I go to movies to like not be explained why the real world is bad, right? For 45 minutes. So yeah. 208, Hellhole. This is kind of like John Carpenter's The Thing, but shitty and on streaming services. Yeah. That's literally all I remember about this film. So if you like John Carpenter's The Thing, don't check this out. Just go watch the original. 207, No Way Up. This year's pretty crappy shark movie. Hey, but it made 207 instead of 222. So Good job to you. No Way Up. This one, the setup was interesting. The plane crashes and they're trapped in a plane, and they need to get to the surface before their oxygen runs out, or they sink farther into this like abyss. But they can't leave the plane because they're a shark. So how do they escape? That is a pretty badass setup, if you ask me. But the execution was not very good. 206, The Front Room. This was advertised as like a horror movie, kind of like a religious horror movie, but it's just like not. It's like about this old lady pissing and shitting herself, and it did not work for me whatsoever. Yeah, and it's like disgusting. It shows the piss and shit from this old lady. I'm like, goddamn, I don't want to see that on the big screen in a theater. 205, Creeping Death, a direct-to-streaming film that like a lot of these direct-to-streaming films, towards the end of the year, I just kind of like check out. And yeah, I pretty much figured out this would be trash and then mentally checked out. It's got a Halloween aesthetic to it. I watched it in December, so it wasn't the right time of year. There's my defense for it being so low. 204, Last Night in Terrence Lanes. This is like a bowling alley is about to close, and then a cult descends upon it on its last night of operation. Haha, that's where the title comes from. But yes, it just wasn't good. The concept sounds very cool. A horror film at a bowling alley. You could do some cool stuff with that, right? But yeah, this movie's just generic as hell. So yeah. 203, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, the race swap remake of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, which I didn't know this was a remake until after I saw it. I didn't care for the story. I didn't think the humor was very good, and I don't really know who this movie's for. 202, finally a new film, He Never Left. This is, again, a direct-to-streaming movie I watched towards the end of the year, but it's about a serial killer that killed some people, and then he stopped, and oh my god, he never left. And so then he came back and then started killing some more people. More interesting concept. I like slashers, so I got a little bit more entertainment value out of this one than a lot of the lower streaming services movies, but still 202. You're not even the top 200. Come on. 201, The People in the Walls, another direct-to-streaming film. I thought the concept here was interesting, where there's like these demons that crawl out of these walls in this house and stuff, but again, just an interesting concept, just not executed very well. And very slow to get to the actual point of the people in the walls. It took a little bit to get there for me. So, yeah. 200, The Hangman. This is, again, one of these streaming movies. This creature thingy design here, the Hangman, was pretty neat. But it's just this hangman guy stalking a dude through the woods for an hour and a half. And that's essentially the whole film. And it didn't really get a whole lot more interesting than that. Ooh, okay. There's the rapid fire of those bottom 20, and it still took me almost 20 minutes. Oh, you got Holland Oates in the chat. Hey, Fox, streaming till the sun sets? Yeah, probably. Anthony Holland. It's cool you got to see so many films, Fox. I probably would have dodged a few of these movies, though, buddy. Oh yeah, trust me. As soon as I watched some of these films, like The Hangman, People in the Walls, He Never Left, Terrence Lane's Creeping Death, Hellhole, He Sees You When You're Sleeping. I watched all this stuff like within a week. I watched all that in a week. That was all the stuff on, and there's some more stuff we haven't gotten to yet that I watched in that same week. It absolutely absolutely destroyed me. I literally didn't watch so many other streaming service movies, like Netflix ones. I missed out on so many just because these ones destroyed me. And I'm like, I can't take it right now. I need to stop before I legitimately hate watching movies. because that's what I do every year, right? I just throughout the whole year I add a bunch of stuff on streaming services, and then in December I binge them all. I don't know why I do it that way. I just do. But so on Netflix, I never watch stuff like Enola Holmes. Enola Holmes 2, was that the one that came out this year? I don't know. Let's nix that one. I never watched Damsel, Atlas, Unfrosted, Rebel Ridge, which I heard good things about Rebel Ridge. I just never watched that one. But yeah, there's like so many of those like Netflix ones that like everyone was talking about for a little bit. I just never watched because I'm like, I don't have the strength to do this right now. So there's some of those that are out there, and I probably should have watched those ones first, because direct-to-streaming horror movies have a worse reputation than direct-to-streaming Pop-Tart movies, I guess, on Netflix. Oh boy. All right. Number 199, Sunrise. I actually watched this one earlier in the year, and it's a direct-to-streaming movie. I think this is about vampires. That's shocking because I made a list on Letterboxd like a week ago about every vampire film I've seen, and I don't think I put this one on there. I'm going to rectify that as I talk about it. But essentially, you have Guy Pearce there, and this other guy who shows up to a town, and I'm going to not do that because I can't do this at the same time. So this other guy, Alex Pettyfer, shows up to this town as this loner and then kind of gets swept up in this whole vampire thing. It wasn't as interesting as you would think it is, and kind of repetitious. 198 director's cut. Essentially, this band wants to make a music video, and so they hire this super low-cost director, and they go to him, and he essentially just kills them all. He's a serial killer that kills people that want to, get stuff directed from him. So that was it. Semi-interesting setup and stuff, but just not very good. 197, Black Cab. Essentially, Nick Frost plays an evil cab driver. Oh, yeah, just not good. Not very good. 196. Here's a pretty interesting bad movie. Megalopolis. My God. Whew. What is this shit? Oh God. I 100% genuinely, not like some of these streaming movies where they were just so bad I checked out and I don't really care to remember what they're about. Megalopolis, I genuinely don't know how to describe the plot to anyone. The best thing I could do is that it is like this political battle between Giancarlo Esposito and Adam Driver to be the mayor of New York City. But Adam Driver has this new material to make a megalopolis, a new utopia. And he really wants to like rebuild New York City. And that's like a really bad explanation. I just genuinely don't know how to describe this film. Like I don't know who to recommend this movie for. I don't understand the point of this movie. I mean, there were some cool visuals in here. I liked the cast. You have Shia LaBeouf, who I haven't seen do anything in like a decade. You had Giancarlo Esposito, like I said, Adam Driver, Lawrence Fishburne, Aubrey Plaza, Jon Voight. Like, it's a pretty dope cast, man. The movie's not dope, though. So, yeah. Megalopolis, wow. One of the, like baffling bad movies of the year. At like the worst, I was expecting to just not enjoy this, but it to be something that I could see other people enjoying. I don't know who would enjoy this. Like, this is the type of movie you watch with obnoxious people to make fun of. is how like bad this thing is. Yeah, and that's the only reason it's like 196 and not lower is because it actually has like you can like see, because directed by Francis Ford Coppola, right? The dude that directed the Godfather movies. Like you can see some of the talent there he has, but it doesn't make sense at all. Like like that's the weird part. Oh my God, Megalopolis. Why am I getting worked up about this movie? Oh. Another thing that's crazy about this film is it played at Fantastic Fest. And I didn't go see it because it was releasing wide, and why would I see something that's going to release wide in a week at a film festival? And I could see some other crap that no one's heard of, right? When I got home from Fantastic Fest, I watched this before I went and saw Transformers 1 because I thought this was at least going to be better than Transformers 1. And my God, there's like a 170 movie gap between those two. Jesus. Wow. Megalopolis. What the hell? 195, Afraid, evil AI movie from Blumhouse. This one didn't piss me off as much as everyone else, but it wasn't very good whatsoever. Pretty generic, predictable, WTF twist at the end. Yeah. 194, Out Come the Wolves, direct-to-streaming movie where this person is trying to survive some wolves in the woods. Kind of interesting, but still just not very good. 193, woo, Graven the Hunter. Oh, God. This and Madam Web destroyed the comic book movie genre this year. Like, absolutely destroyed it. Thank God they shut down this Sony Spider-Man universe thing because wow. They are some of the most incomprehensible trash movies to be added to the comic book movie genre in a long time. Probably the past like decade. Just pretty trash films. I get a little bit more enjoyment out of this one because it's rated R and there's some violence in there, but it's just, not good. Fun fact, in that trailer I made for this ranking, which if you haven't checked that out, go check it out because I really like making those trailers. I put a lot of like time into that stuff because I like it and it's cool. I tried finding the clip of this movie where Rhino is like just looking out the window and he just goes. And then like it's never addressed or anything. It's just like he literally just like walking, just like standing in a window and like we didn't get Craven, and he makes that noise. And like, they never say anything about it, and now I went blurry on the screen. Oh great! Hey, you gonna refocus on me, please? Yay! 193 Craven the Hunter. It's the origin story of how Craven got his jacket. There we go. 192 Tarot. Again, like Afraid, this one didn't make me as mad as everyone else. It's not good. It's generic as hell. It's not good. The whole tarot card thing I thought was kind of interesting. The most unintentional funny moment from this movie. Thank God I was in the theater by myself, so I laughed my ass off at that scene. It's like, the astrologer, she's reading my cards. It was like the funniest thing ever to me. I like died laughing. It's just generic as hell. And I don't see myself rewatching this unless it's to like kind of roast watch it, with some friends. But it didn't offend me like it did a lot of people, and it's 192, and it didn't escape the bottom 30, so there you go. It's still not very good. Speaking of not very good, 191, The Book of Clarence. I saw this movie a long ass time ago, and it's been down here for a long time. You have Lakeith Stanfield in here, who James McAvoy. I forgot James McAvoy's in here, and Benedict Cumberbatch. Where like it's like a version of um like Jesus and his disciples, you know. Um, but they like smoke weed. And then they like frame Benedict Cumberbatch as being Jesus because he looked like Jesus, but then Lakeith Stanfield gets crucified too. I just don't know what the point of this film was. I really don't. It was just odd to me. Um, I'm not someone who is religious, and so I don't know a whole lot about that stuff. So I just don't understand like what this story was trying to do. If this is like I just don't understand this film is the complete honest thing. Um, I totally forgot James McAvoy and Benedict Cumberbatch was in this too. You can even see James McAvoy there with like his gray mullet. Yeah. 190 Absolution. Liam Neeson movie. This one isn't really an action thriller. It's more of like a drama where he's losing his memory and he's like a mob enforcer. Just not all that interesting, you know. I think Liam Neeson's a great actor, but man, he does not pick good stuff. Especially recently, he has not picked some good stuff. So, yeah. 189. Not only the last addition to this list, but the very last movie I watched in the year of 2024. The last video store. This is a really low budget film. So I don't want to like give the movie too much crap for it, but you can definitely see the low budget. Essentially, this person returns a cursed VHS tape to a video store, and some of the characters from other VHS tapes start coming alive and trying to kill the people in the video store. It was fun for the most part. The budget shows it's a little bit too campy for me. So it like as a one-time watch, it was cool, but otherwise, it was fine. 188 Christmas Eve in Miller's Point. I honestly don't understand the point of this film. It's kind of just more about an experience of Christmas time than having an actual story. There, we just have a bunch of people that get together at Christmas, and you just kind of experience stuff, right? You experience their conversations, you experience their traditions, you experience that's literally it. You just experience stuff with these people, and there's no plot to it. It's just kind of a hangout movie, you know. It's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a hangout movie, but this is not interesting whatsoever, and it's set at Christmas. So there's a great comparison. 187, I saw the TV Glow. It was interesting concept, but just a little bit too out there for me with like some of the stuff it did. Kind of it has a message in there, but I feel like it just like kept repeating it like over and over and over and over again. I'm like, okay, I get it. But yeah, this was a movie night movie at my house, and I think I pissed my mom off because we watched this one, so she did like it. I'm not saying it's great, but I didn't hate the thing. 186, Bob Marley, One Love. I'm not familiar with anything Bob Marley related, so this one was awkward because it's just like 2 or 3 years of his life it's telling a story of instead of like the whole story of Bob Marley. So that was weird. I'm not huge into like his music or his style of music, so it wasn't like all that interesting to me. And it just fell really flat for me. 185, Back to Black, Amy Winehouse movie. I have no idea who Amy Winehouse is, but this, unlike Bob Marley, One Love, was actually about like pretty much her whole life. But it's kind of like your generic biopic thing, right? A person becomes addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever after they get famous, and they fall out of fame, and then they come back. And then, in her case, she did it again and then died. But yeah, it's Music biopic about someone I don't know. 184, Ricky Stenicki. This Prime Video original thing. Where you have Zac Efron and his group of friends. Zac Efron, coming hot off Iron Claw, did this film, Ricky Stenicki, where his group of friends hired John Cena to play their imaginary friend. There were funny moments. I like John Cena a lot. Everything he's in, I enjoy him at least. But it was just generic comedy with Zac Efron, and it disappointed me because I was like, dude, you just did Iron Claw. Why did you divert back to this? Anyways. There were some fun moments in here. But whatever. 183 Humane. This is another streaming movie about where there's again, it's a streaming movie I don't remember a whole lot about. There's like some disease or something, I believe, and all these characters are trapped in a house and trying to figure out who they're going to sacrifice to like leave the house or some stuff like that. It was just bad. It had Jay Bucharel in it, like, you know, the dude from How to Train Your Dragon films. At the time when I watched it, I was like, okay, cool. And then after it, probably like 3 weeks now, I just don't remember. That's what kind of sucks about watching this many movies is like, I can remember like the ones that stand out for being super bad, super memorable, or super good. But if I don't enjoy a film, I'm less inclined to give it brain space to care about it. Other than just saying bad, move on, you know, because I just don't want to think about it. But what else? 182 Villains Incorporated. This was a fun movie. It's essentially this group of people want to be super villains, and they're trying to be henchmen for a super villain, and they can't find a super villain without messing it up and accidentally killing him or stuff like that. Like it's a pretty fun movie, but it just, I don't think it fully worked in the end, and I don't really know the context in which I would rewatch this one. There was some stuff in this movie that was also a little bit too goofy for me, but it was okay. Number 181, The Well. This stars our favorite Lauren Lavera from the Terrifier franchise. And she essentially is trying to restore this old painting, and as she restores it, the demonic things painted on the painting come to life and stuff. And there's like a whole subplot where there are these people in like this caged room, and there's a well in the middle of it, and there's this guy killing them the whole time. And the stuff with Lauren Lavera was pretty cool. The other stuff is like, what the hell are you doing? Please just go back and see Lauren Lavera, because it's awesome. But yeah, whatever. Wow, I did that pretty quick. I just went through like 40 movies in less than 40 minutes. Oh my god. Maybe I won't be here all day. Oh, okay. Let's go to the next set of movies. All right. Towards the top of this category, we actually got some good shit. Where is it? Trying to find the cutoff to where they were just fine to I enjoyed them. Number 130 is the last movie I would go mixed negative on. Otherwise, everything else I'd go at least mixed positive on. We just have to get there. Just have to get there. 180, Queer. This movie by Luca Guadagnino, where Daniel Craig lives in Mexico and he has a relationship with this other guy. And display name. I don't know. The whole film was just kind of like half baked for me. It gets like really weird at the end. Like it was pretty grounded the first 3/4. Then you get to the last fourth of the movie and it's like, where the hell did this shit come from? And it just goes like super weird and trippy and stuff. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. Hey man, if you want to see Daniel Craig give a blowjob though, you can watch this film. 179, The Wendigo. I watched this a couple months ago. It's a streaming film. I think the creature of the Wendigo is a pretty cool creature for horror films. I'd like to see more stuff with Wendigos, especially good stuff, please. This one just didn't fully work for me. It's kind of like a home invasion-ish movie with a Wendigo. Cool. Just didn't work for me, I guess. 178, Night Bitch. I'll talk about this one for a little bit. It is getting lots of awards season consideration. We will see how many Oscars it gets nominated for, I guess, tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Probably not a whole lot. But anyways, essentially you have Amy Adams taking care of her. She's like a stay-at-home mom, taking care of her son, and she slowly believes she is turning into a dog. There's some funny moments in here, I'll give you that, where she's like in public eating food like a dog and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's just kind of boring to me. When I hear a concept of woman believes she is transforming into a dog, that sounds pretty cool. And like why? I feel like it'd be more like David Cronenberg's The Fly, right? But it's a woman with a dog. Not necessarily what I was expecting. I mean, Amy Adams is great as always, but I don't know if this is more of like my expectations, got me thinking this was gonna be one thing and then it was something else. But I don't know. It's just about this woman like parenting her child. I wanted to see Amy Adams become a freaking dog, man. Not her painting on the floor with her child, Just like Terrifier 3. Fuck them kids. So, yeah. 177. If. Woo. This one might be a hot take. I see a lot of people that actually really enjoyed this film. For some reason, this one didn't work for me. It's directed by John Krasinski, which I really like John Krasinski as a director. It's got a ton of people in here. It's got freaking Matt Damon in it as that Sunflower. I just don't know. This one just didn't work for me. It just kind of felt flat to me. And I didn't think the ending fully worked. Like the whole ending twist reveal fully worked. I can see where some people have some charm with this, but this one just didn't really do it for me, It really sucks because I like John Krasinski quite a bit as a director, and Ryan Reynolds was your lead in this film too, and I usually like him, but I didn't feel like he was all that. Not like him. I just didn't really think his character was all that great. And it didn't have like enough of what I want from Ryan Reynolds in a movie. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I seem to be in a little bit of a minority, not really cared for this one, at least in what I've seen. 176, Garfield. animated film. It's whatever. It's just a Garfield movie. That is animated. Oh my god! And Chris Pratt is Garfield. Whoa. Sure, there's lasagna in here, so 1 star for lasagna, 1 star for John. There you go, 2 stars. 175, Despicable Me 4. I don't care about this franchise. Sure, there's superheroes this time. Cool. I really just don't care about the Despicable Me movies. I'm not huge in like animated movies, so like if you're just not an animated movie that I like really enjoyed, nah. 174, Founders Day. Pretty low budget slasher whodunit. I actually figured out who the killer was gonna be. Because I thought in my head, you know what? I wonder if this person would be the killer. And it turned out to be correct, so I wasn't that surprised. But I do like whodunit slashers. So even though this one isn't a very good movie, I could get some entertainment value out of this one. Because, yeah, I just could. 173, Sting. I probably will never watch this movie again. Because as you see here, there's a freaking massive spider. I don't like spider. So this movie freaked me out a little bit. Not really. I just don't like spiders. And so it kind of creeped me out with this spider. And every single time it eats something, it grows. And so eventually you have like this massive spider, crawling around. Effective at that. But I just don't like spiders. So yeah. I didn't. Was kind of watching it, kind of not, because I don't want to see spiders. There's also a movie that will be omitted from this list called Infested, because I watched the first 5 minutes, so I'm like, nope, can't do this, where apparently it is like Sting, but instead of one massive spider, you have like thousands of small spiders. I got 5 minutes in that movie, I'm like, nope, can't do this, turned it off at the end. So, yep, never watching that film. 172, Sasquatch Sunset. Jesse Eisenberg is one of these Sasquatches. And the way to sum up this movie is they find a road in the middle of the movie, and the Sasquatches don't know what it means, and so they pee and poo, and the lady Sasquatch grabs her Sasquatch boobs and squeezes breast milk all over the road. Yeah, that sums up this movie. There's no dialogue in here. They're just Sasquatches doing stuff, and it's kind of weird sometimes. One of them dies by a log. That was kind of cool. 171, Deer Camp 86. These people go deer hunting, and then it goes wrong when this entity hunter thingy starts coming after them. Wasn't as good as I would hoped it to be. I was actually pretty interested in this. Because I just thought it'd be a little fun movie, and it just was, it didn't work. This whole entity thingy, that whole entity thingy did not work for me. So, yeah. What else? Number 170, my most disappointing movie of the year, Joker. Fully Ado. God damn. This movie is so low on this list. It's almost bottom 50. Wow. Just talk about disappointments, man. I love voice cracks. No, I love that first Joker. It is a phenomenal film. When they said they are going to make a sequel to it, and they're going to have Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, I was like, you know what? I actually like Lady Gaga in stuff I've seen her as an actress in. And I would be interested to see a sequel to this, quite honestly. Even though that first one is an incredible one or done, you have the whole same creative team coming back and doing a sequel. I'm like, I have faith that you guys will do this incredibly. And quite clearly, they did not. They made a movie that you made a musical sequel. First off, I'm not into musicals, man, and so I don't know what possessed you to make a musical to a sequel to Joker. Two opposite tones. Don't know why you did that. Um, and then the way this movie ends is terrible. Absolutely terrible. One of the worst endings of a movie I saw this year. And this movie legitimately like takes away from that first film of how awesome it was, to where now, even though I was hopeful that a sequel to that awesome film, to that first incredible film, was going to be great, I now have retracted that, and I just want Joker to be a one and done, and I never wish this film existed, quite honestly. I left the theater pretty angry at this one, so I even like consider dropping it lower than this. This is kind of pretty forgiving, 170, but I finalized my 2024 movies ranked list on Letterboxd on New Year's Eve. That's when I finalized it and I don't touch it. And then I made these graphics a couple weeks later, and I didn't want to switch anything from that list. So kind of wish this would be lower now. What do you know? It's 170. So I guess congrats to you, Joker 2, for not being in the bottom 50. So still 170. Suck. 169 Imaginary. Generic ass Blumhouse movie. This, and I'll talk about the next one too. Night Swim 168. These films, they're not good by any stretch of the word. They're generic as hell. They don't like offend me. They're just kind of there. I don't care about these films all that much. So I really just don't care. I don't care if Blumhouse wants to make bad horror movies. I'll go see them anyways. I get more mileage out of bad horror movies than like bad other movies, I guess. Like these ones are perfectly watchable, but they're just not good, man. I wish we would get better horror movies from Blumhouse, obviously, but Night Swim and Imaginary don't like offend me or piss me off as like everyone else. So they're watchable. They're not good though. They don't piss me off. So whatever. And side note about Imaginary, Night Swim there. Side note, this is the first movie I watched in 2024. Not only a new release, but just first movie in general I watched in 2024. So, yeah. Cool little fun fact there. 167, Drive Away Dolls. These two lesbians get a briefcase from Pedro Pascal, I believe, and they're trying to take it to a senator, aka Matt Damon. I think unknowingly, maybe. I'm not sure. But they kind of get like swept up into this adventure, road trip type thing. It was semi funny. You have Margaret Qualley in there, who is becoming a pretty famous actress. You had Matt Damon in here, so that's pretty cool. I love Matt Damon. So there's a full star for Matt Damon. 161 Time Cut. Essentially Totally Killer, the Prime Video from last year, but done on Netflix and done not as good. Even though I guess this movie was made first, they just never released it, so whatever. I enjoy Totally Killer quite a bit more than this. And Totally Killer is pretty fun. If for some reason you don't have Prime, you can watch that version of the story with time cut. It's not terrible, but it's not good. I'd just rather watch Totally Killer, which I feel bad for this movie, just everyone comparing it to Totally Killer, but hey man, there's a better version out there that exists. 160. Speaking of better versions out there that exist, Mean Girls. Wow. I never watched the original Mean Girls until literally like an hour or so before going to this one, I think. And this is an adaptation of the Broadway show, which is an adaptation of the original Mean Girls. And I don't think this works as a musical. I didn't know it was a musical, but I don't think Mean Girls really works as a musical. There's like nothing in this film that I would prefer to the original film. It is essentially all the same jokes done 20 years later. And so you know all the iconic moments and stuff. It's just, I don't know why it exists. I just don't know why it exists. I did enjoy Renee Rapp as Regina George. I thought she was pretty good. Everyone else, I really didn't care for any of the other castings. This is just one of those movies I don't understand why it exists, really. 164, The Crow. I've never seen a Crow movie before this. So I had like no preconceived thoughts on Crow movies. Excuse me. I had no like preconceived thoughts on the Crow movies because I'd never seen them before I saw this, and this not very good. It's kind of like it's like 90% of this movie is like this love story between those two guys, right there. And then this like 10%, the Crow stuff, where Bill Skarsgård becomes like this undead warrior thing, you know, with the sword. And yeah, like the opera house thing was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I wish the whole movie had been like that, but whatever. This one didn't offend me as much as like everyone else. I didn't think it was as bad as everyone said it was. Like people were like tearing this thing apart. Like this is terrible. And I went to see it. I'm like, it's not good, but I could watch this again. It just okay. I watch it again. I don't think it's terrible though. I don't think it's great. I think it's a little bit overhated. 163, Thelma. Essentially, this old woman here gets scammed for a lot of money, and then she goes to retrieve her money. And who? I don't remember who the guy was that she has to go get her money back from. Let me look. Malcolm McDowell. That's who it is. Malcolm McDowell is the scammer. I knew it was someone I recognized. So I don't know. It's just kind of like a bunch of old lady humor. Yeah, there were moments I laughed at it, but overall, I didn't care for it all that much. 162, Ezra. This was a secret screening at my local theater. They do that, like mystery movies is what they call them. Essentially, you have Bobby Cannavale that has a son with autism, and he essentially kidnaps him. Not really kidnaps him, but just like takes him, and they just start traveling country to go somewhere. I don't remember exactly where they're trying to go, but it's about him trying to um, like just parent with his son with autism, also trying to do his stand-up comedy and stuff. Um, there were moments of it that were fine. I just, I don't know. It just wasn't all that interesting to me. There was some funny moments in here, but I didn't like the way that they portrayed this father acting towards his son. I don't know. I just didn't like it. It was kind of off-putting to me, honestly. So, what is? I probably wouldn't have seen this one if it wasn't for that mystery movie thing. Cabrini. This is a story of this woman named Cabrini. It's a true story. It was interesting. I just feel like it was interesting to learn about this stuff, but it wasn't like the story itself wasn't interesting, if that makes sense. Like learning about people like that's always interesting. Like the Amy Winehouse movie that I talked about earlier. It was interesting to learn about Amy Winehouse, but I just didn't care for it, if that makes sense. So it was interesting to learn about this stuff, but it was just kind of like dull and boring, Not that it was pretty slow. It was a pretty slow moving film too. And I don't know who Cabrini is. I think the film was well done for what it was going for, but I don't particularly know who she is. And even after watching the film, again, months ago, I still probably couldn't tell you who she is or all that stuff she did. 160, It's What's Inside. This is a Netflix movie, like a body swapping horror Netflix movie. This was getting like a lot of love from some people, and I watched it. I'm like, I don't understand why people loved this. Like there were some elements to it that were fine. As far as like Netflix originals go, it was okay. It's not a high bar. It was all right. But yeah, it just, I don't know. I figured out like how this movie was going to end pretty early on. It's like, oh, this is how it's going to end. There's like a bunch of like stuff going on. And at a certain point, the movie got confusing too. Because you have like this group of like 7 or 8 people that are all switching consciousnesses within their bodies. And you do it once, you're like, okay, I can track with that. But then they do it again. And then they do it again. And so by the end of it, you don't know who is who. And like when I said I figured it out. I figured out the basic idea, but I didn't figure out who was doing all this stuff. So it just got confusing to where it got tough to follow this film. It really did. 159, The American Society of Magical Negroes. Really long title and really weird film. I mean, this movie is about an American Society of Magical Negroes. There you go. It's supposed to be a comedy, and I just didn't think this movie was very funny. This came out a long time ago in the year too. I didn't think it was funny. Came out like early March. I wanted this film to be funny. I thought it looked pretty funny from the trailer. But I watched it and they like put all the best moments in the trailer, and it was just kind of a thing that existed, I guess. So, yeah. 158, Miller's Girl. Oh, this is a weird one. Essentially, you have Martin Freeman as a college instructor for Jenna Ortega. Maybe not even college. Anyways, he is her teacher, and then Jenna Ortega starts to seduce him. And it was just like so uncomfortable, this film. It was like it was a very uncomfortable watch. And It's just so uncomfortable to watch this, and then you get to a point in the film to where it shows you something happen, but then it's like, oh, that actually didn't happen, or did it happen? And it like plays with that sense of reality, like, oh, did what we just see actually happen or did it not happen? And I don't like movies that do that. Or like even like games, like I played the Silent Hill 2 remake earlier this year, and it does that a lot, and that just like bothers me, because then I don't know what's real and what's not real without like, excuse me, without it being like clearly defined. And so I just don't like when movies do that, because I'd rather know, yes, this is real, no, that isn't real. um and so I've never liked when movies do that, and this movie kind of does that a little bit. So there you go. 157 ISS. This is one of the earliest movies I saw from this year on this list. Essentially, these Russian and United States, Russian and American, those are the right two words, astronauts are on the International Space Station, and the Russia and United States go to war while they're up there. And then both teams get messages from their respective countries to kill the other astronauts on board. Um, and so, interesting, you have this whole like one location movie of the ISS, and these people who are all friends and stuff and being friendly up there together, now are being told that they have to kill each other. So cool. What's this one? Oh, 156 in the Land of Saints and Sinners. This is kind of your generic Liam Neeson action movie of the year. It has Carrie Condon in it, and she's pretty cool. So I don't remember a whole lot about this. Oh, I feel so bad saying that, but I don't. 155, Catching Dust. Let me scratch my head again. I have a very itchy head today. Catching Dust. This is a streaming film with Starlight from The Boys, Erin Moriarty. And it's got Jai Courtney in there too. Essentially, this couple like has issues, and this other couple comes and like gets deserted at their trailer home, and then stuff happens. That's pretty much it. I was expecting this movie to be a lot better than it was, because I really like Erin Moriarty and The Boys. And so I was hoping to see her do something else. It's going to be really cool. And she's fine, but the problem is the story here. It wasn't that interesting. I'm not huge into Jai Courtney either, and I don't remember who the other two people were. So, whatever. 154, Spaceman, the Adam Sandler Netflix drama movie where he's essentially an astronaut that gets super lonely in space, and then he hallucinates a giant spider creature thing and starts talking to it. And I believe the spider was Paul Dano's voice, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Wanted this one to be a lot better. I'd like to see Adam Sandler do more stuff like this, where it's not a comedy and it's more of it's like a drama. Because Uncut Gems is really good. He's really good in Uncut Gems. I'd want to see more dramatic roles from Adam Sandler. 153, Bookworm. This is another one I saw at Fantastic Fest. I don't know if this one's actually released yet. I seem to enjoy this one quite a bit less than everyone else. It's about Elijah Wood reconnecting with his daughter to go find this Black Panther out in the jungle, to get a picture of it and then get a large amount of money for it. There were cute moments to it, but overall, it wasn't necessarily my type of thing. 152, The Draft. This one's also a little bit of a disappointment. I also saw this at Fantastic Fest. I think this is an Indonesian horror film where these characters go to a cabin, and it's like your typical cabin in the woods. They start dying type story, but they realize they're in a horror movie, and so the characters themselves start being like, oh, it gets like super meta, right? And they're like, oh, I know how to shoot a gun, and then like they'll reach into their pocket and they'll pull out a gun because they know how to use it. And so how do they know how to use it? Well, because their character has a gun, right? And so they start like messing with the script like that and stuff. But like there's like so many points in this movie where like someone dies and then the person writing the script is like, I don't like this, and then like crumbles over and retries, and then the person comes back, and it just gets confusing after a while, and then it like turns into this like zombie apocalypse action film where they have like guns mounted on top of this house they're staying in. They're just mowing down hordes of zombies. Like it's supposed to be a horror comedy, but it just got so confusing and way too meta for me to fully get invested in it. 151, The Return. This is a version of, I believe, Odysseus, whatever that's called, the Odyssey. It's about Odysseus returning, and Odysseus is played by Ray Fiennes there. Yeah, Ray Fiennes is awesome. You ever want to see naked Ray Fiennes, you gotta watch this film. I don't really know the story of The Return, but I heard Christopher Nolan's doing a version of that, so I guess I'll figure it out. I don't know. This is just there's like some films here that just didn't do it for me, and I don't really have like a specific reason why. It's just kind of like, yeah, it just didn't really do anything for me. So yeah. 150. I've talked about 72 movies. I'm moving at a pretty good speed, going about a movie per minute right now. I'm doing pretty good. So maybe I won't be here till 6 p.m. Maybe I'll only be here till like 4 p.m. Yeah. 150. Sweet Dreams. This is a comedy movie with Johnny Knoxville where he goes to live in a like rehab home, and then he gets everyone in the rehab home to like make a baseball or softball team. I like Johnny Knoxville from Jackass, obviously, like everyone else. So that's kind of when to check this thing out. There were funny moments in it, but overall, like there were funny moments in it, but there was equally amount of not funny moments in it. So overall, the average is just kind of for the comedy wise, and yeah. 149, Baby Girl. Oh, this freaky ass movie. Essentially, Nicole Kidman starts an affair with young intern Harris Dickinson there, and it is just crazy because it's it's more of like Nicole Kidman. She's freaking married to Antonio Banderas, man. Why the fuck would you leave Antonio Banderas, of all people, to go have an affair with anyone? That's just fucking crazy, dude. But Antonio Banderas isn't a freak like she is, and Harris Dickinson will do all the freaky, kinky stuff with her. So yeah, that is Baby Girl. It gets pretty freaking weird with the sex shit. Oh yeah, and Nicole Kidman climaxes twice in the first 5 minutes of the film, so that's pretty cool. 148 and 147, we'll talk about them together. The 2-part Watchmen adaptation from this year. I do slightly prefer part 1 there, just because I like the first half of the story of Watchmen better than the second half. I mean, even with that Zack Snyder version, which I freaking adore, I prefer the first half to the second half. What a disappointment, man. What a disappointment. Like I said, I love the Zack Snyder version so freaking much. Um, and so the fact that a new Watchmen adaptation is barely in the top 150 is depressing. Um, these should be so much higher, man. I just love the story of Watchmen so much. But these movies are like the voice acting is so flat and dull. The movies go by super quick. Like you're covering this big story and it doesn't like take the time to flesh it all out. It moves so quick. So it's just odd. It's just so odd. And I don't really know what went wrong with it, you know? I don't know what to do because it's just the book. It's just a graphic novel, but animated. And it's the same story, didn't cut anything, didn't change anything. It's literally just that. And it just didn't work for me. So, yeah, unfortunately, Watchmen Chapter 2 and Watchmen Chapter 1 guys aren't very high, and that makes me sad. 146 Mufasa, The Lion King, the prequel to the live action shot for shot remake thingy. Again, this movie was okay. Excuse me. It was okay. I'm not super into The Lion King. I'm just not into The Lion King, man. So, I don't. The story didn't have a whole lot of merit to it, right? I wasn't not like I was interested in learning why Scar became Scar and how he got his scar. It's a prequel, you know. Prequels don't have a good rep, anyways. So, a prequel to a not very well received movie was also not very well received. 145 House of Spoils. I saw this at Fantastic Fest. It's essentially the Menu meets The Witch, but it's like 90% the Menu, 10% The Witch. So Ariana DeBose here goes and buys this property in Louisiana, and she can't cook anything there because like the ground is cursed or something, and she has to use witch ingredients that grow on that ground, nothing foreign to that land. And so she like starts making all this stuff, and she's getting really good at it. Then she's like, "Oh, let me try my old stuff again," and then it gets all like moldy and bug crawly and stuff. And it's more like a restaurant drama with like barely any witchcraft stuff in it. So yeah. 144, Your Monster. This has Melissa Barrera in it, from the most recent Scream movies. And what I'm trying to say, my mind's like, I'm hitting a block. No, I'm not even an hour and a half in. I can't talk anymore. This is where I'm gonna start slowing down. Wow. Yeah, she essentially is a cancer survivor, and then she discovers the monster in her closet when she was little, and then they fall in love. Oh my god! It's about like relationships and stuff like that. Because her previous boyfriend left her because she had cancer, and then she bangs the Wolf Man essentially. 143 Zone of Interest. This was an Oscar nomination, an Oscar nominee. Yeah, this movie's more about the experience again for me too. So having a whole story, it's about an officer at Auschwitz and his family living in a house outside of Auschwitz, And so they like have this super idyllic lifestyle. You know, they have this garden right outside the wall where there's horrific shit going on right on the other side of that wall. And so it's just like showing you how comfortable all these people were with all this horrific stuff happening like feet away from them. So yeah, movie starts out with like a black screen that just is, it's just black for like 5 minutes too. 142 Y2K. I wanted this movie to be so much better than it actually was. You have Rachel Zegler in here, and you have the kid from Deadpool 2 and one of the kids from the It movies. And this movie is a horror comedy about Y2K, and pretty much all the machines take over. And it was fun at parts, excuse me, but it just, I don't know, once the invasion stuff happened, it got a little bit too out there and weird for me. I have like questions about some of the logic of it. So yeah, it's a disappointing one. 141, Small Things Like These, Cillian Murphy drama where he is a coal delivery dude. And he's like delivering to this orphanage or something. And he sees how the people are mistreated, and then he wants to like rescue them or help them out. So Cillian Murphy just won his Oscar. He's obviously a great actor. This is the first thing he did after that. So yeah, Cillian Murphy is a great actor, and this movie shows that he's a great actor. But it wasn't a very particularly like fully interesting story. It was pretty slow. 140, How to Have Sex. Interesting title. Essentially, I think this is British too. British film. Essentially, these girls go off on holiday, as they call it, across the pond. I'll talk like a British person for this one. I'll try to. So these girls, they go across the pond for holiday. Maybe not across the pond, but they go on holiday. And this girl, right here on the poster, she meets a boy, and they have sex. That's like the plot of the film. But it kind of the plot of the film. Essentially, that the guy like SAs her. We'll leave it at that. So I'm saying no word on get blocked on YouTube. And then it's like her and her friends kind of dealing with that, you know. So yeah, not that interesting of a subject matter. I'll tell you that. I don't really like watching that stuff. 139, Blink Twice. Again, like how I said, if I remade this list right now, I'd probably shift some stuff around. I'd probably shift this one up quite a few spots. But it's the directorial debut of Zoe Kravitz. It's got Channing Tatum in here, where essentially these girls go to this, he's like a rich billionaire. They go to his island, and then they just like party and stuff, but they get like drugged, and so they don't remember anything from the previous day. And so they just keep reliving days at this island without like realizing it, right? And this goes on for weeks or whatever, right? And Channing Tatum and his group of friends are like taking advantage of them in naughty ways. So yeah, I'd put this one up a little bit higher. It was good. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. 138, Slingshot. This is a psychological thriller film about Casey Affleck and Lawrence Fishburne, and then Frenchie from The Boys being on a spaceship, and then Casey Affleck starts to hallucinate stuff. And then again, it's one of these movies like we don't know what's real or not. And so it kind of messes with your perception of reality. But all three of those gentlemen give good performances. It was a cool little like bottle story of trying to figure out what's going to happen with these three guys on this spaceship. So it was fine. I'm just not a fan of that messing with reality thing. 137 skincare. This is Elizabeth Banks' movie where she has a skincare place, and then what does she do? She thinks that the rival skincare place across the street is out to get her, and is like trying to sabotage her, and so it's her trying to like navigate through all that stuff. Yeah, it was okay, I guess. I feel like I'm missing a part of the film, but I can't remember what it is. Again, watched this a long time ago. 136 Weekend in Taipei. You have Luke Evans, and then the guy from Fast and Furious here. An action revenge movie. There's some fun action in here, but for like a low budget action film, this one didn't really fully work for me. There was a lot of there's like a romance plot line in this film that I didn't care for, and so that's like one of your major plot lines. I didn't care for it, nor did I think it worked. 135 stop motion. A horror film about this person making a stop motion animation, and then the stop motion things start coming to life and potentially trying to get her and stuff. Kind of freaky film. That's all I remember. Like there were some freaky moments to it, but it was kind of slow. It was more of a slow burn type film. But yeah, things on Shudder. 134 Babes, a comedy about this girl that gets pregnant, and then the dad like dies, and so she's like trying to decide if she wants to be a single mother or not. And then she decides, yeah, I'll be a single mom to honor my baby daddy's legacy, and it like there were funny moments about it, but there was also a lot of humor that didn't land in this one too. However, I will mention this: the doctor in this movie, the pregnant lady's doctor in this movie is the guy that was the Zodiac killer in the movie Zodiac from David Fincher, I believe, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. Oh my God, I have a comment. Holland, I wish I could forget Blink twice. Yeah, I think I enjoyed that one more than most people. But yeah. 133. Here's an interesting one. Better Man. Okay, finally some interesting thing to talk about. Let's set up for this. Better Man was the fourth secret screening at Fantastic Fest this year. There were 5 of them, so this was our 4th one. They came out and they're like, you're about to see a movie about a monkey dancing and singing. And I was like, what? And then there's an intro they played with Robbie Williams and the director of this film. And they're like, hey guys, thanks for coming out to see our film Better Man. In this film, I'm played by a CGI ape because I always see myself as less involved, and I hope you really enjoy. I'm like, who the hell is Robbie Williams? Why the hell is he a CGI monkey? I still don't know why the hell he's a CGI monkey. Besides them saying that, oh yeah, it's just because I see myself as less evolved. This is the only reason why. This is literally just in Robbie Williams, a guy I don't know, musical biopic, but he's a monkey. And nobody in the entire film mentions the fact that he's a monkey or addresses the fact that he's a monkey. No one says a single thing. There's no like subtle joke that he's the monkey. It just plays straight the whole time. Nobody ever mentions it. It is so odd. And so I don't know. I don't understand. I still don't understand why they decided to make him a monkey. Oh god. But this is just it's just your generic biopic thing, right? Like I said with Amy Winehouse, but I did enjoy this one more. It is your quintessential music biopic, but with a monkey, and for a guy I had no idea who he was. Even after watching this film, I still have no idea who he was. I didn't recognize a single song of his. So yeah, this is in theaters right now. If you know who Robbie Williams is, sure, check this thing out. It was fucking weird. 132 Trap, the new M. Night Shyamalan film. I am always super optimistic for our boy M. Night that he's going to give me a great film, but he is like the most inconsistent dude on the planet when it comes to making films. And so this one was an interesting concept, like all of his films. First 2/3 of the film, I was like, okay, this isn't great, but I'm buying this, and it's a pretty fun thriller thing. As soon as I leave the concert, this movie dropped significantly, like probably almost a full star or two. It dropped because it was like actively insulting my intelligence as a human being, and it just stretches your disbelief. It's not as interesting. I don't know why you left the concert, M. Night. God damn. But yeah, Trap, new M. Night Shyamalan film. It was either going to be on my most disappointing movies of the year, most surprising movies of the year, and it made disappointments this year. So, yeah. 131 is Bagman. This is a horror film with Sam Claflin or Finnick Odair from the Hunger Games films, and essentially you have like this sinister entity, the Bagman, that kidnaps people and puts them in his bag. And so it's about a father's son gets kidnapped, and so the father goes to rescue his son, and like protect his son from this Bagman monster that was coming after him when he was a child. I didn't care for the ending for this one. Otherwise, I enjoyed this one a little bit more than everyone else, it seems. There were some creepy moments in here, but yeah. 130 Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver. I liked the first Rebel Moon more than most people, and I like Zack Snyder quite a bit. He's like one of my favorite directors, so I'm always interested in what he's doing. I'm always rooting for the guy, but this just didn't work. It is more of what I wanted from the first Rebel Moon, but not executed as well, not as interesting, and I still haven't watched the director's cut of Rebel Moon just because I genuinely don't care about this world enough, and that really sucks. So, yeah, I wish a new Zack Snyder film would have been higher on this list, but lo and behold, it's not. Oh, I should should finally mention this too. This is the last film I would go mixed negative on. From here on up, the next 129 films are all films that get positive reviews from me. So yes. $129. Roadhouse, the Jake Gyllenhaal remake. I've never seen the original. I thought this was fine. It was just fine. I think I enjoyed this less than most people, but I don't know. Story didn't fully interest me all that much. I like Jake Gyllenhaal, but I'm not like a mega fan of his. So yeah. The top 129. I know. We made it. We've made it. Not really. We're still in the triple digits, and we've been doing this for an hour, 16 minutes. 128. Godzilla versus Kong, the new Empire, the newest Godzilla versus Kong film. Look, these movies are all stupid fun. This movie gets a little bit too stupid for me. I don't like the whole inner Earth, middle Earth thing with these movies, and sometimes the creatures get too extravagant for me, and there gets to be too many of them. I prefer stuff like the original Godzilla film from 2014, the start of this universe, where there is Godzilla and one creature, not Godzilla and 15 other creatures, because that just kind of suspends my disbelief quite a bit. You have like 15 kaijus in a city. I'm like, okay, yes. 127, Argyle. This is fine. I wanted it to be a lot better than it was. It looked like a fun spy movie, but I wanted it to be a fun spy movie, and it was, but it got too goofy for me in the end, and I didn't like a certain reveal about halfway through the film, but it was fun. A pretty stacked cast there. A lot of great people in there. 126, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Bunch of fun actors like Henry Cavill and Alan Ritchson and Henry Golding. Killing Nazis. That's always cool. But just wasn't, again, like Argyle, just wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. Still fun, but I just wanted it to be so much better. 125, Horizon, an American Saga, the part 1 of that Kevin Costner Horizon thing that's supposed to be like 4 parts, and they pulled part 2 from the release schedule last year because this movie underperformed so much. So I don't know. This again, like whatever movie I was talking about, how it's kind of just stuff happening. Miller's Christmas Eve and Miller's Point. That's it. This is kind of the same thing where it's just like Old West and stuff is happening. You know, there's not like a full clear narrative here because this is part 1 of 4 movies, and all the movies are going to be like 3 hours plus. And it's like, I don't understand like what the point of this is. It's just kind of stuff occurring. So yeah. I'm interested to check out the other ones. I think it's shot beautifully. I think what am I trying to say? I think the like production design and all that stuff is great, but there's just like no story, man. Like, what the heck? 124 Hitman. I seem to enjoy this one less than everyone else. Essentially, you have Glenn Powell, who's going to be like an FBI informant type guy, and he plays like all these different characters, and it's really, some of them are really weird, but he plays them all very well, and he gets like all these information from people, but then he like falls in love with that lady there, and then it like complicates stuff, and so yeah, it's on Netflix. Everyone else seemed to like love this film. I thought it was fun. I didn't love it. 123 Wicked Little Letters. You essentially have Olivia Colman receiving all these really obscene letters, and she thinks it's from Jessie Buckley. And it's about like an investigation trying to figure out who's writing her all these letters. It's like a fun movie. The letters are pretty funny when they get read aloud. So yeah. The eventual reveal of who is writing all the letters, I thought it was pretty obvious too. 122, The Bike Riders. I was also hoping this one to be a lot better than it was. You essentially have Austin Butler and Tom Hardy in a motorcycle gang, and again, it's just kind of like a hangout movie. There's not a whole lot of story going on here. It's not like they're biker gangs that get into like gang stuff and they're like doing crime, like biker gang crime. Yeah. They don't do any of that. They just hang out and talk about how cool motorcycles are for like 2 hours. 121 is Try Zombie. I saw this one at Fantastic Fest as well. You essentially have this home of people with Down syndrome that gets like invaded by zombies, and they have to survive, and they're trying to go find their friend. It's a sweet movie. It's a fun little zombie type film with a lot of funny moments. So yeah, I'm not sure if this one's released yet, but I enjoyed it. 120. Jesus. Number 120 is All of Us Strangers. This is a movie with Paul Mescal and Adam Scott in it. Essentially, there are two gay men that start a relationship, and that's essentially what the movie is about, them and their relationship. There is a twist reveal ending at this one that I thought was pretty jarring and kind of took away from the whole rest of the film. And I don't want to get too much into it because it would kind of spoil the movie as to why I didn't really enjoy it all that much, or why I didn't love it. But besides that twist ending, it was a good film. I enjoyed it. 119, Arthur the King. This is a movie with Mark Wahlberg and Simu Liu, good old Shang-Chi himself, where they are like these marathon runners, where they want with like those team marathon things. I don't know what they're called. Well, and they my brain is fried right now. And along the way, they find this dog, and while they continue the rest of the marathon, they have this dog, and it's just a fun movie with the dog. The dog survives, so that's always nice. But yeah, it was fun, interesting. 118, Kung Fu Panda 4. I kind of forgot that I saw this movie until I was making this graphic, and then I was like, oh yeah, I guess I saw that film. It was interesting in a way. I liked the villain of this one, but I don't know if I've actually seen any of the Kung Fu Panda movies besides the first one. Oh no, that's a lie. I've seen the second one like once, but I've never seen the third one. So I don't know. The fact that I forgot this came out this year until I made this, yeah, not a very good sign. But I guess it was fine for Kung Fu Panda stuff. 117 is a movie called Cloud. I believe this is a Chinese film. I saw this at Fantastic Fest. And essentially you have this guy that does online reselling that one of them goes wrong and he gets caught up with the wrong people. And he then must fight for his life against these people. Interesting. Not a movie that I would ever rewatch. Pretty slow movie. Doesn't really get a whole lot of tension in the climax. Like the whole ending part just kind of happens and then the end. 116 Planet B. This is a French film that I saw at Fantastic Fest, where essentially all these people who are, I'm trying to remember this one because I don't remember this well that well. It's where all these people who like they get put on like this island type deal, but they think it's like a prison, and then one of them starts contacting with someone outside of this island prison thing to rescue them so they can go back to the mainland and be like I don't know if they're like protesters or something or like activists. I don't remember which one exactly, but I remember when I watched it, it was pretty interesting. That's a pretty interesting concept there. But I really just don't remember the plot of this one all that much, which sucks. But I enjoyed it when I saw it. So yeah. 115 Moana 2. I've never seen the first Moana, so I just kind of went to see this because it was the thing to see that week, and I didn't really have anything else to do. It was fine. It's fine. I probably will never watch this again. I don't know. It didn't make me want to go check out the first Moana, so it's fine. If you liked Moana, I would assume you will like this one. Like, there's funny moments in it, but like nothing to write home about. 114 Don't Move. This was an interesting Netflix original film where essentially this woman gets drugged to where she can't move her body, and she is trying to escape this serial killer because like the serial killer drugged her so that way she like becomes paralyzed essentially, and then she's trying to survive him. And this is pretty interesting. There's some tense stuff going on in this film, tense moments, but yeah, it was just fine. Interesting concept, could have been executed a little bit better. 113 Bad Boys Ride or Die. I'm not really huge onto the Bad Boys stuff. This one was fun. I had fun with all the Bad Boys movies, but they're none of like my favorites ever. This one's fun. Just more Bad Boys stuff. That's kind of just what it is. I did like the whole ending fight sequence though, in the like abandoned like center thing. Like, I don't know what you call it. There was also a pretty good action sequence in a house with like Martin Lawrence's son, I believe, Reggie. So that was pretty cool. 112 Carry On. This one kind of came out of nowhere. Taron Egerton plays a TSA agent and Jason Bateman plays like a terrorist. It's about how is Taron Egerton going to get out of the situation and like fix everything in this situation without like causing mass panic at the airport. It was fun. It was fine. As far as like Netflix direct streaming movies go, it was fine. Number 111, we have The Apprentice, the Donald Trump movie. I wasn't planning on seeing this movie, but then it became one of the secret screenings at Fantastic Fest, and so I was like, oh, I guess I'm watching this movie now. And you know what? For someone that didn't want to watch this movie just because I don't care, I want to escape the real world when I go to see movies, not talk about a controversial um, figure in um, the internet right now, or in the real world right now. One of the most controversial people to exist right now, right? I don't really want to go see a movie about that. I just want to like not think about Donald Trump, right, and like not hear about him. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll stick around and watch this. And you know what? The movie is more interesting than I thought. It's still not necessarily 100% what I would have hoped it would be, because it's still very one-sided of trying to make fun of Donald Trump, right? Instead of just like telling you his story of who he is as in like what happened, because that was the most interesting part of this movie to me, right? Because until 2016, I had no idea who Donald Trump was, and so like I had no idea. I just had no idea, and so getting like the story of his life of like him in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, you know, that stuff was interesting. Getting to learn about what he did, you know, and like his business, the relationship he had with Ray Cohn, Jeremy Strong's character, which he does great too, and Sebastian Stan is incredible in the role as well. But the movie was just very one-sided, and I would have much preferred if you were to make a movie about like any political figure, I would say, or just anyone in general, I guess, right? You shouldn't like make fun of the person, or you shouldn't like uh prop them up on a pedestal, right? You should just have like an unbiased look at everything, you know, if you're telling a story about their life, you know? So that's like the biggest thing that I didn't like about this movie. So otherwise it was way better than I thought it was going to be, and for a movie I wasn't going to watch and then kind of accidentally got forced to watch in a way. Yeah, I kind of dug it. It's like right here, halfway through the list. Pretty much, like we're like dead half the list. So there you go. 110 is Azrael. This is a post-apocalyptic movie with Samara Weaving in it, where essentially the rapture happened and then all the people left on Earth cut their vocal cords. They don't talk, and then there's also like some demon creatures that roam the Earth now. And so there's no dialogue in this film, but it's not a silent film. And it was fine for what it was. The ending kind of confused me with what was going to happen, where they like birth the jackal or something like that. That was kind of odd, but it was fine. It's fine. I'm not like I said with what other movie I said. I don't. Book of Clarence. I don't really know a whole lot about like biblical stories and stuff. So I actually had to look up after this movie what the rapture was and kind of read into it more to fully understand this film. So I wonder if I watched this film again, knowing what that was, if it would affect it at all. 109, The Severed Son. This is a pretty low budget folk horror movie that premiered at Fantastic Fest, where you essentially just have like this isolated community, like in Midsommar, you know, and they have this demon there in the woods, right? And then this woman fornicates with the demon. Wahahaha. Yeah, it it was fun. It was fine. I'm not huge into folk horror movies, and so I was a little bit hesitant to checking this one. Not checking this one out. I was just a little bit hesitant on this one, but I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. For a movie with like a super low budget, it actually did pretty good. Um, so yeah, I dug this one. I have no idea if this one is released not or yet. 108 Little Bites. This is another one I saw at Fantastic Fest, directed by Spider-One, who is Rob Zombie's brother. You essentially have this vampire living in this woman's basement that keeps taking little bites out of her and like sucking on blood and stuff, you know. And the thing is, the whole thing's like a commentary on like toxic relationships and stuff. So, from like way back here, my mustache looks really weird. Sorry, that like caught me really off guard. But it was fine, you know. The ending, I don't understand what the hell that was going for. You had Heather Langenkamp in here for part of it, I believe. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, pretty slow movie as well. Pretty slow. And just a ending, I don't really understand why the movie decided to end that way. But yeah, I have no idea if this is released yet or when it will release. But yeah. 107, The Idea of You, the rom-com with Anne Hathaway where she like falls in love with this dude that's in a boy band who's like half her age. It was fine. It was fine. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about it, but cool. There you go. 106, Lord of the Rings: The War of Rohirrim, the animated Lord of the Rings film. I was pretty disappointed about this one because I'm a pretty big fan of Lord of the Rings. I haven't watched them in a long time. They're like the most rewatchable films for me, but I enjoy them all. I'm even more forgiving on all the Hobbit movies than most people. But I didn't know this was going to be animated, and so I was like, oh, yeah, do Lord of the Rings film. That's going to be badass. War of the Rohirrim? Yes, please. Give it to me now. It'll be badass. Then I heard it was animated, and I was like, Then I heard it was going to be like animated, anime style. I was like, I don't know. It was fine. If this is what they want to do with Lord of the Rings, like telling side stories, that's interesting, and I think that's the right direction to go with this franchise, because what else do you do? But it's like the series would just print money for you, so just make all these make your own stories, but like side stories, right? But don't do them animated. Do them live action. Just do them live action. 105, The Beekeeper, Jason Statham action film. You know, fine. This is from David Ayer. So I like David Ayer when he doesn't do stuff like The Suicide Squad, even though apparently that's not like actually his film, but it was fine. It's a Jason Statham action movie. I got what I wanted from it, so there you go. 104, another movie I saw at Fantastic Fest. This one's called Frankie Frico. This guy like accidentally summons like these little monsters into his house that like destroy his house. But he did like try and help him out in life. They destroy his house, and then it's just about living with these creatures, you know, that mess everything up and are very destructive, loud, obnoxious things. It was fun. A lot of really good puppet work in this one. Again, I don't know if this one's released yet or what the status is on that, but I enjoyed this one for what it was. So, fun little film. 103, Mr. Crockett. I also saw this one at Fantastic Fest. And I was a little bit disappointed by this one. I wanted it to be, I don't know, it just sounded like such a cool film. I essentially heard Nightmare on Elm Street meets Mr. Rogers, and that's a very good description of the film. But in my head, I just got like super excited for it, right? I think they just needed to tighten up the script a little bit more, make the script a little bit better. But otherwise, the main performance here of Mr. Crockett is very good. All the practical effects are very good with the monsters and the gore. All of that is very, very well done. So, yes. Maybe we'll get a sequel to this one. I don't really know what the wide reception for this one was, but at Fantastic Fest, we had a pretty fun time with this. 102, another film I saw at Fantastic Fest, even though it literally premiered at the exact same time we watched this. But hey, Halle Berry was there, so that's pretty cool. I got to see Halle Berry. Never Let Go. This was fine. It's kind of like A Quiet Place, but the gimmick of this one is you have to be tethered to the house, and so you always have to be on this rope, then it's got and then you have like Halle Berry and your two sons here, and one of the sons believes everything she says, and the other one questions everything. So that was kind of interesting. The way the film ended, I'm not really sure if I fully enjoyed it. I want to rewatch it and see if watching it after knowing all the twists and reveals, if it makes it better. But I enjoyed this one. I thought it was fine. A lot of people were like, yeah, icky. Number 101. Movie that almost made the top 100. One spot away. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Massive improvement from the first film. I think that's pretty universally agreed upon. The first film's pretty dog shit. This film is actually pretty interesting. This is more of what I actually wanted from that. It's like one of those movies that's like, okay, they're having dumb fun with this now. The kills are a lot better. The effects for these creatures are a lot better. My God, that was one of the worst parts of the first one, was the crappy effects on the crappy Pooh and Piglet mask. Pretty messed up story for the origin of these characters. Winnie the Pooh is a goddamn beast and loves decapitations. So, yeah, if the Twisted Childhood universe keeps going down the road of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, then I could actually enjoy them. Number 100, Sunset Superman is the title that I will be referring to this film as that is what played at Fantastic Fest as the title sequence, and it also is the name the director said is the title of his film, but most other people will know it as Don't Mess with Grandma, because that's what this distributors wanted to call it, but we're calling it Sunset Superman here. You essentially have Michael Jai White at his grandma's house, defending his grandma's house from home invaders, that while trying to keep her in the dark about her house trying to get robbed. It's fun. I enjoyed this one a lot more than other people. So yeah, Sunset Superman. Number 99, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Another massive disappointment for the year for me. I love Ghostbusters Afterlife. That is my favorite of the Ghostbusters films. So, with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, two things. One, the Frozen Empire needed to be like the entire film, and not like an afterthought in the last 15 minutes of the film. And then the other main thing that bugged me was the whole like mystical side of this film, right? With Kumail Nanjiani's character. To me, the Ghostbuster films, while still being like fantastical and stuff, it's like rooted in science, if that makes sense, where they fight ghosts because they make all this technology with the proton packs and the ghost traps and stuff. Like they're making this technology. There's it's not like mystical powers and stuff. Like this movie decided to start going down with Kumail Nanjiani and his character. I didn't care for that like at all, and it kind of like I don't know. I would remove a lot of that stuff from this film. Um, there's also a lot going on in this film. Take away like 5 of the side characters, and you'd still have a pretty packed story. So, yeah, unfortunately, Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire is good, but not amazing like I was hoping. Number 98, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. All 3 of these movies are fine to me. I've never played a Sonic game. So I don't know. I'm not a Sonic fan. I like all 3 of these movies. They're fine. I've never rewatched any of them after I saw them the first time. So it's fine. It was successful enough for getting a 4th one in 2027. So there you go. Sonic 3. 97 Red One. This movie got like a lot of hate, like really unfair hate. I went to go see this, and maybe I enjoyed it more than most because I was expecting this to be like the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life based off how the internet was treating the film. But it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. It was like the most okay, mediocre thing I've ever seen in my life. Like this film was fine. You have Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans protecting J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus, not protecting him, but trying to find him. That is fun. It's dumb and stupid, but it was fun, right? I don't know what people were expecting from this movie when I hear Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans are in a Christmas movie together and J.K. Simmons is Santa. I'm like, okay, that's just going to be like a dumb Christmas blockbuster thing, right? I don't expect it to be Oscar-worthy material. It just sounds like a fun movie, and I had fun with it. I just don't understand like the level of hate this thing got, where people are calling this like the most unwatchable trash movie they've ever seen in their life. I'm like, oh my god, if this is the worst movie you've ever seen in your life, my god, go to the movies more. Jesus. 196 Strange Harvest: Occult Murder in the Inland Empire. This is another movie I saw at Fantastic Fest. I'm not sure if it's released yet. But essentially it's like a crime documentary type film, even though it's like a made up. It's all made up, but it plays like it's real. Where it is it's like those crime shows you see online where they're like interviewing people and stuff for it, and then it's like intercut with like found pictures or footage that relate to the crime. And it's all about this guy called Mr. Smiley, who is like doing some weird demonic stuff, man. But it's very well done. It's very well done. Most of the time you actually forget that it is not real. You think it's actually real. There's some creepy moments in here. I didn't care for like the supernatural stuff though. Like if someone wants to be like, oh yeah, this person's hailing Satan and stuff, okay, that's cool. But it like actually like shows like, oh no, he was real and he actually summoned Satan or some stuff like that. You know, like he actually accomplished at summoning whatever he was trying to. And it like shows some of that stuff, and I'm like, that kind of loses me because it was like pretty grounded of like just this crazy ass guy, you know, painting stuff in blood on the ceiling and walls and stuff. That stuff's creepy, but yeah, I don't know. That part didn't really work for me, but otherwise, very well done film. Not sure when it would release, but I would recommend checking that one out. Number 95, A Real Pain. I don't think I enjoyed this one as much as everyone else. But anyways, I didn't enjoy this one as much as everyone else. But I still liked it. Essentially, you have Kieran Culkin, who is getting a lot of love for his performance in this film, and rightfully so. He's pretty funny. And Jesse Eisenberg are 2 Jews, and they go to Poland to honor their grandmother who recently deceased and decided to go on like I think a Holocaust tour. And it's kind of about a lot of the humor in this movie is about Kieran Culkin's character, like pushing boundaries and stuff, and then Jesse Eisenberg's character being like, "No, let's not do that," and then them being like two very opposite people, and so it causes a lot of comedy. But at the end of the day, it's got like the message of like you still love your family no matter what, So yeah, it was fun. I just felt like all the funniest moments were in the trailer. And so when I went to see this, I just felt like I already seen all the best parts. 94 werewolves, essentially the Purge Anarchy, but with werewolves. I mean, you even got the star of Purge Anarchy, Frank Grillo, in here. It was fun, but it wasn't like exactly what I had wanted it to be. There's some bad CGI in here with like gunshot stuff, like little flashes when you shoot. That was pretty jarringly bad. But the practical effects on the werewolves and stuff was really good. So, yeah. I hope we get a sequel to this. This would be a pretty fun little franchise. But a little underwhelming, but not like terribly. Sorry, real quick, I'm going to turn this light off. It's just hurting my eyeballs. Oh, there we go. My eyeballs don't hurt as much anymore. All right. 93 Elevation, essentially A Quiet Place with Anthony Mackie, but instead of they can't talk, they can't go below, like 8,000 feet. But they have to go on a little adventure below 8,000 feet. It was fine. I did not like the twist ending whatsoever of what these creatures actually were and what their weakness was. But otherwise, it was fine. Fine little film. 92 Monkey Man, Dev Patel. I think he wrote it, directed it, and starred in it. So congrats to you, man. It's essentially, everyone describes it as like Indian John Wick, and that's a pretty good explanation. But this movie has a lot more like culture entwined with it, and so yeah, it's a little bit deeper than John Wick, I would say, but not as good as John Wick. There's some good action sequences in here too. I mean, I'd be fine to rewatch this one, but it's not like one I'm like super rushing to rewatch. Then 91 is Ick. This is a horror comedy starring Brandon Routh, and he essentially is this teacher at a school, and there's this stuff everywhere called the Ick that is just kind of growing, but it never hurt anyone, never did anything, so everyone just ignored it. And then one day it like attacks, and then everyone freaks out what to do. Part of the film's like a commentary on how people responded to COVID and stuff, and that was pretty fun. Then another part of it is just like poking fun at different generations and stuff, which was pretty fun. So it's a pretty good horror comedy. I don't know when this releases, but I would check this one out when it releases. I had a fun time with it in the theater. And then they also said something. Oh god, I can't remember the quote from the director, but he said it's like something of the needle drops, because there were so many needle drops in this film of like late 90s, early 2000s songs. So that's a pretty good soundtrack. I just don't remember what he compared it to, but yeah. Anyways, let's read a comment. Whoa, did I hear the Purge Anarchy? You did. You absolutely did, sir. The werewolves is like the Purge Anarchy, but with werewolves instead of creepy people in masks. All right, I must go to the next one, and I think I messed it up. You didn't see that. Oh, top 90. I'm actually going a lot quicker than I thought. I will not be here till 6 p.m. today. I think I like have it in my head that I don't want to be here till 6, so I'm going like faster. I'm like trying to get out of here quick. Not really. I'm not trying to like get out of here. I just don't want to be here till 6, you know? Number 90, The Watchers. I enjoyed this one a lot more than other people. This is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter that made this film, and you can feel M. Night Shyamalan influence all over this. Essentially, where these people get trapped in this box in the middle of the forest, and there's like these creatures out there that watch them at night. And they're trying to find a way to escape. There is quite a bit of suspension of disbelief with some of the stuff that happens in this film, but it didn't like fully bother me. What did bother me, I didn't fully like the reveal of the creatures, and I didn't like the whole tacked on prologue with like a whole another reveal to it. That didn't work for me, and I didn't like that. I wish that had been cut and reworked. But I enjoyed this film for what it was, and yeah, I had fun with it. 89, a pretty big disappointment for me. The Rule of Jenny Penn. This was I think this is releasing in March this year, actually, in theaters. But yeah. Essentially, you have John Lithgow at a nursing home terrorizing patients with a puppet, and Jeffrey Rush has a stroke and goes to live. It's not a nursing home, assisted living home, and then Jeffrey Rush goes to live there, and then it's like the battle of wills between the two of them the entire film. It was entertaining for most of it. I was expecting it to be more intense than it was. It's very more slow burn psychological. And when I hear John Lithgow terrorizing people with a puppet, I get like super excited because that just sounds cool, you know? But it was fine. This was the opening film of Fantastic Fest, but yeah, film was fine. I'd rewatch it, but nothing that I'm like super hardcore rushing out to rewatch. Number 88 is Maxine. I'm not as big on the whole X Pearl Maxine trilogy as like some people are in the horror community. But I certainly enjoy all three of them. I've come around to Pearl. I used to not like Pearl, but I've come around to it recently. Like when I watched it for this, I liked it. And yeah, this is more your generic whodunit slasher. Although I think the identity of the killer is insanely obvious. Like I knew within like the first 5 minutes of this film who it was going to be. It was insanely obvious who the killer was going to be, and so that kind of, if you do a whodunit movie and I can figure it out like instantaneously, then that kind of defeats the purpose of having a whodunit murder mystery type film, right? And so that it kind of like, yeah, didn't, I wouldn't say it ruined the movie, but it hurt the experience of watching this film, right? So yeah, I just, you know, the movie was fine. I enjoyed it. It's number 88 out of 222. So these are all movies that are good. So yeah. 87, What You Wish For. This has Nick Stahl in it, aka John Connor from Terminator 3, where essentially he is a chef and he goes to visit his friend. The stuff happens. He has to take over for his friend at this super elite dinner, and it is a cannibalistic dinner. So that is cool. Yeah. Pretty wild. Good movie to walk into without like watching a trailer and just kind of having that basic premise for you there. It was fun. I enjoyed it. There's some gross out moments in it, but yeah, it was fun. Number 86, Venom: The Last Dance. I'm not huge into the Venom films. I think they're all fine. Well, I don't really like the second one, but the first one's fine. This one's also fine. I don't like the second one, but I wasn't super excited for this one. I was a little bit surprised that it wasn't terrible. After we got Madam Web, I was like, okay, this would be trash. It was fine. It's just more Venom stuff, you know. Um, I'm not huge into Venom stuff. I'm not huge into the Venom movies. I'm not huge into them. So it's just more of that stuff. Cool. Here's a pretty big hot take. Number 85 is The Strangers Chapter 1. This movie got absolutely eviscerated online by everyone. Except me, I guess. I had seen the original Strangers film like years ago. So I don't remember a whole lot about it. I'd never seen Prey at Night. So I watched both of them right before this came out. And I watched this, and is it like an exact remake of that first one, like script for script? Yeah, pretty much. Once the home invasion stuff starts happening. I prefer this version to the original. I'm not huge on that original film. Like, I think the Strangers stuff is okay, but it's not like classics to me or anything, right? So I prefer this version a little bit more. But like all the criticisms towards this film, like I get it. There's stupid character decisions and stuff in this film, but for me, it didn't necessarily ruin the film for me. Like I could watch this and I could have fun with it. So what? I had fun. I think this film's a little bit overhated though, even though I do get the criticisms for it. I think it's overhated. Like worst of the year, I don't necessarily agree with that. I am interested though in to see what happens in part 2 and 3, if and when those ever get released. So I'd kind of like to see a new original Strangers story, but yeah. Excuse me, I enjoyed Strangers Chapter 1. Number 84, Wolves. This was a pretty big surprise for me because I heard it did not get good reviews whatsoever when it first got released, and so I didn't watch it. It's like the last week of December. Excuse me. And you know what? I enjoyed it. Quite a bit. You have, it's not great, but it's good. You have George Clooney and Brad Pitt as like these two fixer-uppers that get hired for the same job. And they have to learn how to work together and they have to learn how to work together and how to deal with each other to get the job done and survive the night and stuff like that. And there's some pretty crazy stuff that happens, but it was fun. I had fun with it. I was surprised because like why everyone was just like crapping on this movie all the time. So I don't know. I like this one. So yeah. Number 83, a pretty big disappointment for me this year, and that is Stream. That's kind of that's the weird thing, right? Like number 84, I was very surprised by. Number 83, which is higher than it, I was disappointed by. That's just weird. Like the whole middle of this list gets pretty freaking odd. But Stream, it's made by the people that made Terrifier. So I was expecting this movie to be like Terrifier level awesome. It wasn't, but it was still good. You have a lot of horror alumni in here, probably a little bit too much. But you have these people that go to a hotel resort thing, and there's this game going on where these people are streaming themselves going around killing everyone in the hotel, and they get like points for it, and people make bets and stuff on it. So yeah, it was fun. I just wish it had been a little bit better. 82, Goodrich. This is a Michael Keaton drama where he's trying to like reconnect with his daughter and stuff. It was fun. Not fun. It was interesting. It was a Michael Keaton. I just really like him as an actor. So anything he's in, I will go see. And Mila Kunis' daughter. I'm a huge fan of Family Guy, so there you go. Mila Kunis is pretty cool too. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd ever rewatch it though. It's not like the most rewatchable thing, but it was fun. 81, The Instigators, kind of the same boat as The Wolf, where I didn't really hear good things about this one, but I always held out hope for this one because I love Matt Damon. He is my favorite actor ever. So essentially, these two guys do a heist and it goes wrong, and then they have to go on the run and they kidnap Matt Damon's therapist. Fun movie, you know. I don't have a whole lot of criticisms for it. It's just fun, you know. But that's kind of like the weird thing with some of these movies is like I think it was going for what it was doing and it did it well. It's fun. There's nothing wrong with being an okay film, you know, unless I had like really high expectations for you. Then it could be disappointing, like Ghostbusters. But yeah. Number 80, Lisa Frankenstein. I've heard a lot of mixed things about this one. It was fine. This was on my most anticipated movies of the year list, and I wasn't all that disappointed in it. I had fun with it for what it was. You essentially have this loner girl, Lisa Frankenstein. I don't know if her last name's Frankenstein, but Lisa. And she digs up Cole Sprouse, and then they start killing people to give him body parts for him to become more and more human again. It was a fun movie, you know. So yeah, I'd rewatch this one. I actually bought it so I could rewatch it eventually. It was a fun little movie. 79, The Painter. This is a low budget action film. Yeah, low budget action film where dude retires from being like an assassin and then somehow gets pulled back into it. You know, typical action genre thing, but I enjoyed this one. Pretty under the radar movie from this year. So if you haven't seen or heard of this one and you like action films, I would check this out because I had a good time with it. It's also got Jon Voight. There you go. Number 78, Out of Darkness. Essentially, this is like prehistoric times where you have this group of, I don't know, like cavemen or people together, and there's an evil in the woods that keeps killing them off like one by one, and they're trying to figure it out. So it was pretty interesting for like the first 2/3, but then once you figure out what's actually out there, it is not interesting, and I could have thought of like 15 other interesting things, and so it was a little underwhelming in that regard because it's like everything I thought up of in my head was more interesting than this. So there you go. Number 77, Rest Body. I saw this one at Fantastic Fest. I believe this is a Japanese film where this kid is being like possessed in his sleep by this demon, and the demon's trying to kill him, so he's trying to figure out a way on how to kill the demon. It was pretty interesting. I'm not huge into demon possession stuff, so getting to sell me on one is pretty hard, but this one was just an interesting enough concept to get me on board. So I enjoyed it. I don't know if this one's released or not yet, but 76, The Fall Guy. I was a little underwhelmed by this one. It's a fun action movie thing with movie stars, you know, just doing movie star stuff with fun moments, you know. It was okay, you know, it was okay. I don't know. I guess I was just hoping this movie to be a lot funnier than it actually was. It was all right though. It's fine. I enjoyed it. 75 is Conclave. This is getting a lot of award ceremony stuff. A little bit. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Like I thought the movie was good, but I don't think it was like incredible. I guess we'll see tomorrow if it gets nominated for Best Picture and stuff. I mean, Ralph Fiennes does incredible. It's just like a really good drama, you know, with all these different factions and stuff going on, and kind of like, in a way, like a political climate of trying to get people on your side and stuff to vote for a new pope, and then people are trying to like expose other people and stuff. So it was interesting. I'm not sure if I'd ever rewatch this film, but it was good. It was good. Number 74, VHS Beyond. I saw this at Fantastic Fest. Its world premiere. It is my second VHS film behind VHS 94, and those are like the only two ones that I actually like. Yeah, this one was really cool. Had like an alien theme to it, all but the last short I really enjoyed. The first segment of this film, the one Stork was the name of it, is my favorite segment in any VHS film. So yeah, it was a fun one. Fun one. 73, A Different Man. I also saw this one at Fantastic Fest. Essentially, you have Sebastian Stan that has this condition where he has like growths on his face, and then he like takes, and so he like never finds success, if that makes sense. And then he like signs up for this experiment to get the tumors. I think the tumors like removed from his face, and it works. And then he still can't find success as a person looking like Sebastian Stan because he like doesn't have any confidence in himself. And then a person who actually has this condition, Adam Pearson, does get success because he is confident in himself, So the whole movie is like trying to like be like, hey, just have confidence in yourself and stuff, And yeah, that's essentially the film. It was interesting. I think this one released in October, but I don't know if it was like a wide release. It might have been limited release, but it was good. It was interesting. Some dark humor moments in there, but yeah. Number 72, Dee Dee. Yeah, this is like a like coming of age story where like this kid Dee Dee is trying to like fit in and stuff. Hold on, I need a drink. One down. And he's just trying to like fit in, So it's kind of about like that awkward phase when you're like a teenager going through puberty and stuff. Oh, so awkward. It was kind of interesting. I feel like everyone can relate to it a little bit. I didn't like how the whole movie wrapped up though. It just, I don't know, it just didn't really wrap up in the best way to me. But yeah. Number 71, The Farm. I bet like no one watching this has ever heard of this film. So I'm like one of the 10 people on Letterboxd who have ever logged this film. So my dad's friend's son directed this film, and they had some showings of it at a theater here. And so we went to go see it, and I actually enjoyed it, not just because I know the person who directed it, but I enjoyed it. Like these people go to, I don't remember where they were going, but they're like going somewhere, their car breaks down, they meet this person on the side of the road, and then they go back to his farm to like spend the night, and then he becomes like a psycho, So it was interesting. What am I trying to say? It was interesting. There were some pretty tense moments in here. The main thing is that this movie went on way too long. It was like 2.5 hours. I think it was long ass movie. Yeah. I think the concept would have worked better for like a hour and a half, hour to 45 minutes, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Number 70, Speak No Evil. I've never seen the original Speak No Evil, even though it came out like 2 years ago. Never seen it. So I had no idea what the story was, and it was okay. This film was fine. I like James McAvoy. There's just like a lot of like awkward moments because of with like James McAvoy and his wife. They just like it's like so awkward. It makes you very uncomfortable to watch this film, I guess, with all the stuff they do. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed it, but um, wasn't as great as I would have hoped it to be. Yeah, it was good. 69 Kill. I believe this is an Indian film about this guy who's like a military guy, takes a train ride, and then some like bad people. I don't know if they're terrorists, but they come onto the train and they like pirate, right? They commandeer the train and hold it all hostage. Pretty violent action film. Very good action sequences in this one. So yeah, I just heard like amazing things about this one, and I watched it. I'm like, that wasn't amazing, but it was good. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like best thing I've ever seen. This is the last best thing I ever saw. 68. It Ends With Us, the Blake Lively movie. It was good. This isn't my type of movie, but what it was going for was good, and I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd ever rewatch it. I think I bought it though. Did I buy it? I did buy this film. I don't know if I'd rewatch it. Maybe someday I will, but I bought it. I do that shit all the time. Like Madam Web. I'm never watching that shit again. 68. Ordinary Angels. This is a pretty sweet film. You have Alan Ritchson, who has his daughter that like needs a new heart or something, and this lady Hilary Swank finds out and then like starts fundraising money for him and stuff. It's just a very nice story, and it was like a true story too. Very sweet movie, very heartwarming movie. So yeah, saw this one in February, and it was really good. Number 66, The End We Start From. I saw this one a long ass time ago too. I think in like January. Essentially, like there's some flooding in England or something. Some severe weather in England, and am I not getting this confused with another movie? Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, so there's like some flooding in England or some stuff, like a huge natural disaster. And it's kind of about Jodie Comer there traveling with her baby around England, just kind of meeting people. Like Mark Strong's in the movie for a moment. Benedict Cumberbatch is in there. I think Jessie Buckley's in there as well. So you know, it was interesting. I liked the ending. Ending was nice. Sweet. You know, everything wrapped up nicely. So yeah, it was fine. It's good. 65, We Live in Time, the Andrew Garfield, Florence Pugh romantic drama film. Yeah, again, it was good. I really like Andrew Garfield and I really like Florence Pugh. So I get a lot of mileage out of seeing those two on screen. Yeah, this goes a lot more into the drama side of it. Really hits you in the feels there. Yeah, really hits you in the feels at the ending. But trying to scooch my chair up. So yeah, I dug it. 64, Apartment 7A, the prequel to Rosemary Baby, Rosemary's Baby. It's also premiered at Fantastic Fest, and I saw it. And by that point in the year, it was the third movie in the year I had seen about woman goes to place, gets impregnated with baby. Because we haven't talked about the other two yet, but we will soon. I'm getting texts on my phone. It was fine. I had only seen Rosemary's Baby for the first time like a week before this, because I had no idea this was a prequel until a week before the festival. I'm like, oh damn, should probably watch this film. So I don't have like any preconceived love or anything for Rosemary's Baby. I think the movie's okay. Rosemary's Baby. So yeah, this movie's okay as well. I like it. I like it. 63. What a weird film this one is. Problemista. This is just such an odd film. It's about this dude that wants to be like a toy designer. But this movie's pretty funny. It's got like a really odd sense of humor, but it's really funny. The guy is kind of like, he becomes friends with Tilda Swinton, who plays a really weird character in this film. And she like, I don't know. She's just like super abrasive. I don't know if abrasive is the right word, but she's just like super weird, you know, in particular. Particular is the word I'm using. I'm trying to think of, I don't know. It was really funny, and it was really funny and really sweet. So yeah, I like this one. Good one. Number 62, Escape from the 21st Century. I also saw this at Fantastic Fest, and this movie is freaking insane. A wild, wild movie where these people accidentally get into some toxic waste or something, and then like every time they sneeze, they get transported 20 years back, or 20 years forward in time. Yeah, or 20 years back in time. One of the two. And it's like this action, insane, zany movie. It's crazy. It's hard to explain, but yeah, I don't know if this is released yet, but it was at Fantastic Fest this year. I believe it's a Chinese film, but I enjoyed it. Number 61, the 4:30 movie, Kevin Smith movie. I think this is the first Kevin Smith film I've ever seen. I'm on a bit of an island with this one. I actually dug this one quite a bit. Essentially, you just have these friends theater hopping all day, just hanging out at a movie theater, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about it. There's some fun cameos in here, but yeah, I've never seen another Kevin Smith film, so I don't really have like any point of reference for Kevin Smith's work, but I dug this one. Number 60 is Dogman. It is, the way that I heard it described before I went to go see it was Forrest Gump, but it's for a paralyzed guy that becomes a drag queen and has an odd connection to dogs. And that's a pretty good description of the film. It's really just a story about this guy's life and all the stuff he does, and why he has like a connection to dogs and stuff. And like it was interesting. I don't know if this is necessarily a film I would ever rewatch. It was a very interesting experience. So, yeah. 95 is Challengers, the Zendaya tennis threesome movie. I'm kind of like on the middle of this one. I saw so many people that hated this film, and then I saw other people that loved this film. I'm just kind of like here in the middle. Like, yeah, that was okay. I liked it, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen. So there you go, challengers. Main thing that holds this movie back is I don't think any of your main three characters are likable whatsoever. They're all like super toxic people, and so I don't care about any of them succeeding because they're all terrible people. And so yeah, yeah. 58, you have Jackpot. This is a Prime original film where you have Aquafina that wins the jackpot, and then for like the 12 hours after you win the jackpot, you can get killed, and then whoever kills you gets the money. And so John Cena is like a bodyguard for her. It's just a really funny movie. A lot better than I was expecting it to be, quite honestly. So yeah, it was a fun one. There's a lot of really fun moments in here. 57, Daddy's Head. I also saw this at Fantastic Fest, and this is kind of like the Babadook, but better if you ask me. Where this father dies, and then this creature takes the head of the father, or like can morph into different things and makes his face the face of the dad to like lure this child and stuff. Some of the creepiest moments of the entire year in this, like some of the scariest moments of any film I saw this year was in this film. So really well done. Creepy film, and it is on Shudder. Number 56, A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie with Timothy Chalamet. I don't really know a whole lot about Bob Dylan. I'm not familiar with his music, so I didn't really know what to expect from this. I watched and I was like, yeah, that was okay. That was good. So out of the music biopics we saw this year, this is probably the best one. I don't think there's any higher up. I'm just not huge into music biopics either. So like it was good. I'm just not into this type of stuff, you know? So interesting. Again, like it was interesting to learn about the story of Bob Dylan. I'm not particularly interested in his music though, and so like his music was fine, but yeah, I didn't. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like excited to see this film, and I kind of got what I expected from it, considering that it had all this star power in it. It was directed by James Mangold. 55, Late Night with the Devil. This is kind of like a found footage-esque film where you have this, I think, 70s, maybe 80s TV show, late night talk show host thing. Excuse me. Where you have David Dastmalchian, who has this Halloween special where he has all these creepy guests going on, and then like stuff starts to get haunted and whatnot. So yeah, it's just a very interesting spin on found footage movies, and I thought it was very well done. So I really enjoyed this one, and I've seen it twice actually. 54, a pretty big disappointment for me this year. Quiet Place Day 1 while still being at number 54. So, yeah. I wanted to adore this film. I wanted this one to be in like my top 3 of the year because I love Quiet Place so much. I love those first 2 films. 2 of my favorite creature features of like ever. These modern ones. And this film was just a little bit underwhelming to me, right? It's the story is very simple, you know, about hey, I just want to try pizza for one last time because I'm going to die anyways because she is terminally ill. The Peter Nyong'o's character. So she's going to die anyways. So she's like, oh, I want to have pizza for the last time, right? Then you have Joseph Quinn that just kind of goes on the journey with her as they're kind of like discovering some of the Quiet Place stuff, right? It just very much feels like a side story of A Quiet Place instead of an actual prequel to A Quiet Place, because you don't show these characters discovering anything. You're just like, oh, they know these creatures make noise. Oh, sorry. We know these creatures don't like noise. Oh, we know they can't swim now. But like, how did we figure this stuff out? So that is the more interesting version of this movie to me. I still enjoyed the film. Don't get me wrong. I still enjoyed it. But it wasn't nearly as great as I wanted it to be. 53, Fly Me to the Moon. This is a fun movie about trying to get to the moon, right? And then they're like, oh, what if we don't make it? Okay, let's fake it too, and then we'll have like the faked one just as a backup, And so it's kind of like poking fun at the whole, do we actually land on the moon thing? It's just a pretty fun movie. It's pretty funny in moments too. I like Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum, and then who else is in there? Who's their boss guy in this movie? I don't remember who their boss was in this movie. I really want to say J.K. Simmons, but I fully believe that is wrong. So I'm going to look it up real quick. But Woody Harrelson, that's who it is. Woody Harrelson. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this one was fun, though. Number 52, Ghost Killer. I also saw this one at Fantastic Fest. Essentially, this assassin dies, and then his spirit goes into... Then his spirit goes into this girl who, like, picks up the shell casing of the bullet that killed him. And so then he can take over her body and still, like, be the assassin guy. And so he has like unfinished business to do, and like uses her body to seek revenge on the guys that killed him. So it was pretty fun. Pretty good action sequences in there. So yeah. Number 51, Bring Them Down. I'm not sure if this one's actually released yet, but I saw it at Fantastic Fest. It's kind of like the Banshees of Inisherin, but it's about these two shepherding families and them like fighting over which sheep are theirs and stuff. And it tells you the same perspective of the same events. Oh, it shows you two different perspectives of the same events. So it shows you one family's perspective of the same events, and then it shows you the other family's perspective of the same events. And so you get two sides of the story, seeing everything. But then it goes for it in the last end with like how violent and stuff it gets. This is not a movie to watch if you don't like animal cruelty. There's a lot of it. They even told us that before we watched this film. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. So, yeah, number 51, Bring Them Down. Number 50, Salem's Lot. Are we really at the top 50? My God. Oh, this is only going to be like 4 hours instead of 6. Nice. This was a streaming exclusive on Max, and for a streaming vampire film, that was enjoyable. Like I said, you know how the bottom of this is like plagued with streaming movies. When you see them farther up here, they're actually pretty good for a streaming film. So yeah, Salem's Lot was fun. I've come around to vampire films recently and like getting more into them and seeing ones. We'll talk about more of them later. But yeah, Salem's Lot was pretty fun. I've never seen the other version of Salem's Lot, so I never knew the story. So getting to explore this was cool. Lewis Pullman isn't here, and I enjoy him quite a bit. 49, Killer's Game. This is a low-budget action film, but this one's pretty fun. We have all these zany assassins trying to kill Dave Bautista. Like, you have Terry Crews in here. You have Scott Adkins in here, Palm Clementiev, Sofia Boutella. and Ben Kingsley. So it's fun. There's a lot of over the top dumb shit, but it was fun. It's dumb fun, you know. So I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I say that after everyone. I'm gonna stop saying that. I'll probably say after this. Juror number 2. This one, I enjoyed what it was going for most of it, except I didn't care how the film wrapped up at all. You essentially have Nicholas Holt, who gets put on jury duty, and then he thinks that the crime he is being a juror for is something he actually did, and so he's trying to sway the jury in the other direction to or not the other direction. He's trying to navigate how to deal with that and if he should sway the jury in any direction. So yeah. Number 47, Kinds of Kindness. This is the newest Yorgos Lanthimos film, the guy who did Poor Things last year. And it's an anthology movie of 3 stories where all the cast plays different characters in all 3 movies. And it's just they're all 3 of them are pretty interesting. All wacky Yorgos Lanthimos style stuff. I didn't understand though exactly the character that appears in all 3 of them. I didn't really understand that part of it, but it's long. This movie's long. But I just kind of enjoyed it, you know, just seeing these like Yorgos Lanthimos mini films. Yeah, they were cool. I think I liked the first segment best, then the third, then the second. If you've seen this film, but yeah, it was fun. Number 46, Mad S or Mads. This was another Fantastic Fest one, and it is like an infection movie, but you switch perspectives to 3 different people throughout the whole time, and it's all like a one take. I think it's a French film as well. Very interesting and very good. So this is one at the festival I was like recommending to people, like, hey, you should check this out later in the festival if you can. It's on Shudder, so I would check this out without knowing a whole lot about it besides what I just told you. I had a really good time with this one. So yeah. Number 45, one of the biggest surprises of the year, the best Christmas pageant ever. I thought this movie just looked dumb. I never saw the trailer. I just hear the name and saw the poster. I'm like, that doesn't seem like a movie for me. And I heard good things about it. I'm like, okay, I'll go check this out. And I checked it out, and it was pretty sweet and pretty heartwarming. It is about Judy Greer taking over a Christmas pageant, and then this group of like outcast kids want to be a part of it. Big yawn. And then they kind of like are the troublemakers of the town and stuff, and so then they have to figure out how to integrate them into the play. And then lo and behold, everything works out. Yay, everyone happy the end. So yeah. It was a fun movie. It was fun. It's a good Christmas movie. Number 44, Night Call. This is a French film. I also saw this one at Fantastic Fest. Essentially, you have a locksmith that gets hired to break into this apartment, and he does, and then realizes the person that told him to break into it was there to steal stuff, and then he gets put in this situation where he gets tied up with some wrong people and has to prove himself innocent by the end of the night. I thought it was a very well done thriller thing up until like the last whole like 15 minutes ending of the film. But otherwise, very good thriller. Yeah, I saw this one at Fantastic Fest as well. I don't know if I said that. Number 43, another Fantastic Fest film, Getaway. I think this released in December. Essentially, you have Nick Frost and his family going to this island where there's a pagan society. I don't know if pagan cult. It's like a cult is living on this island. It's like Midsommar cult. And so they go to this island, and then they crap. And then creepy stuff starts happening to them with the island goers. And that is all I will say, because there is a pretty big twist in the middle of the film. Itchy face again. There's a pretty big twist in the middle of the film that I don't really want to spoil anything for, but yeah, after that twist, the movie's hilarious and very, very, very entertaining. The first half of it was pretty good too, but let's go to the second half. 42, Land of Bad. This is like a war movie where Russell Crowe is like a airstrike drone driving guy, and Liam Hemsworth's team is like on an army team or something, right? And they go on this mission, and they have to. Sorry. And they have to. And Liam Hemsworth is just trying to survive because the whole thing goes south, right? And it's about him bonding with Russell Crowe, even though they never meet. It's just all over like radio and stuff. So I'm not someone who's not typically into this type of film, but for what they were going for in this film, it was very good, and I enjoyed it a lot. Number 41, Arcadian. This is kind of like Nicolas Cage in A Quiet Place, but instead of not talking, just don't go outside in the middle of the night. The creature design in here was very interesting and very creepy. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It just feels like a Quiet Place ripoff, but it's like a good version of a Quiet Place ripoff, if that makes sense. Plus, it's got Nick Cage. Number 40 is Oddity. This is like one of the 3 movies I've ever seen that's actually freaked me the F out. This movie's creepy as shit, man. So, yeah, I really want to rewatch this one. That wooden mannequin thing in it is terrifying. But essentially, this woman's sister dies, and so she takes this woman mannequin to her house to try and like figure out how she died. So yeah, very creepy film, very good jump scares in here too, very good atmosphere. So yeah, very creepy. This movie like actually freaked me out. Number 39, Boy Kills World. I actually just bought this and rewatched it like a week ago or so. You have Bill Skarsgård, who's a mute and deaf guy whose inner voice is Bob's Burgers voice, like the guy who does Bob from Bob's Burgers. And he essentially just goes on this revenge mission to kill Jean Grey from the original X-Men trilogy. There are insane action sequences in here. This movie's a lot of fun. So yeah, Boy Kills World, I would definitely recommend if you like action films. This movie is crazy. There's an ending fight sequence between 3 characters that is very, very well choreographed as well. Number 38 is Twisters. I've never been a huge fan of that first movie. I've only seen it a couple of times. I actually prefer this to the original film, just slightly. Man, Glenn Powell, he is awesome in pretty much everything he does. He is going to be around for a very long time. So, this movie is just a lot of fun. This is like the fun summer blockbuster of the year, or at least one of them. And Glenn Powell's truck is badass. I'm going to say that. His truck is badass, drilling into the dirt. Like, this shit's ridiculous. But it's fun. This movie's fun. Number 37 is Immaculate, the second of the Woman Goes to Place Gets Impregnated with Baby movie that is on this list. I think this is the first one to release. Yes, Sydney Sweeney does an incredible job in this film, not like Madam Web. She was incredible in this film, being an actress. There's effective, creepy moments in here. There's a lot of tense sequences, a lot of very nice cinematography in here, very good like sets design and stuff, and a very shocking ending. I was like, God damn. But yeah, if anything from this movie you take away is that Sydney Sweeney is a great actress. 36, Beetlejuice. Yeah, this was a really solid legacy sequel, right? I really enjoyed the first Beetlejuice. I've only ever seen it twice, and both of those times were like in the past 2 years. So I'm not familiar with Beetlejuice, or like not. I don't have deep-rooted love for Beetlejuice, right? But I thought they really captured the vibe of the first Beetlejuice again. Michael Keaton goes right back into the role of Beetlejuice, and it was incredible. The only problem with this film is that there's just way too much going on here. There is enough for like 3 Beetlejuice movies in this one movie. So if they would have taken out some of these plot lines, yeah, the movie could have been even higher on this list. And Willem Dafoe was awesome in this, just a side note. Number 35, The First Omen, the last of the Woman Goes to Place and Gets Impregnated subgenre that apparently was exploding this year. I had no faith in this film, pretty much. The Omen, the original, is a great horror film, and all the sequels and remake are trash. And so I was like, oh, great. Another Omen film. This will be bad. And oh my God, it's number 35. Yeah. Very big surprise. This one actually is a very nice companion piece to the original. I would very much someday like to do a watch of this one into the original. The big issue with this one is like the tacked on ending trying to set up a sequel to this didn't really fully work. And yeah, otherwise it goes into the original pretty nicely and ties it all up very nicely. So very good horror prequel there. Good job. Number 31, Knox Goes Away, a Michael Keaton film where I believe he is like in a mob or something. I don't know. He does like shady stuff, right? And his mind is slowly going away, and so he doesn't remember stuff all the time. This is about him trying to what am I trying to say? It's about him like trying to do everything he needs to do to make sure everything will be fine once he goes away, right? Very good performance from Michael Keaton. Very interesting story. And yeah, I bought it, so I'd rewatch it. Number 33, I Used to Be Funny, this year's Rachel Sennott comedy movie. I just really like Rachel Sennott and like what she does for like comedy movies like Bodies, Bodies, Bodies and Bottoms. I thought were both very good. So yeah, I'm all on board for what Rachel Sennott's doing. Her brand of humor just works for me, and I laugh my ass off at every single one of her movies I see. So yeah. Number 32, Saturday Night. I actually saw this at Fantastic Fest as one of the secret screenings. This is a movie about the 90 minutes before the first ever airing of the first episode of SNL. I've never watched SNL ever. I only see clips of stuff, like recent stuff on YouTube. So I had no idea of any of this stuff. But there was a lot of cool people in the cast here, like the dude from the Maze Runner. I can't think of his name right now. Dylan Arnold, is that his name? Maybe. But you had Willem Dafoe and J.K. Simmons and Gabriel Labelle in here, and Rachel Sennot's in here too. So I really enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I was going to. But it was just a fun time. Pretty funny movie too. Number 31, In a Violent Nature, essentially Friday the 13th from the POV of Jason Voorhees. And yeah, I get all the criticisms. Yes, this movie is just a dude walking around through the woods for most of the time. The kills are great, though. For what it was going for, I enjoyed it. And I rewatched this one once it hit streaming. So apparently they're making a second one. Go right ahead. Make this whole thing a franchise. I'm down for it. I had a lot of fun with this first one. All-time great kill with that yoga thing. Number 30, American Fiction. This is one of the Oscar nominees this year. Essentially, Jeffrey Wright is a writer that never finds fame, and so he kind of like out of spite writes this book that's like very black, you know, and then he gets a lot of praise for it. And so then he kind of has like this dilemma of like, well, is this what I really want to do or not? So very interesting film. I don't know if I'd ever watch it again, but it was good. Very, very good. Number 29 is Dune Part 2, and I might get in a little bit of trouble for that one. I'm just not huge into the Dune stuff. Like this was number 29 out of 222, so I shouldn't defend it. But I'm just not huge into Dune. Both the Denis Villeneuve films are fantastic films, but they're never going to be some of my favorite movies. They're just very good sci-fi movies that I'm just not in the mood to watch. Like, I respect them very much so. I get why people like them, or not like I get why people love them, but to me, they are not the greatest movie to ever exist. And I prefer Dune Part 1 quite a bit to Dune Part 2, I would say. This one gets a little bit too much into like the Messiah figures and stuff like that for me, and the prophecies and stuff. Less of what I would like from these movies. So yeah. Ooh, we have another drinky. Number 28 is Inside Out 2. I like the first Inside Out, but again, I'm not huge into animated anymore. And I was genuinely surprised how much I like this one. This goes for like puberty and stuff. Yeah, like anxiety and embarrassment and boredom and stuff. So, yeah, it was really good. As a follow-up to the first Inside Out, it was very good. So, this is for animated films. It was also very good. We have a lot of animated films right here. Number 27 is The Wild Robot. Again, very good animated film. This one's from DreamWorks. This one also played at Fantastic Fest, but I did not see it at Fantastic Fest. But yeah, very good animated film. A lot of people's like top 10 of the year. I'm just not big into animated films anymore. So the chances of me rewatching this or Inside Out 2 are very low, even though I think they're fantastic films. So, number 26 is Transformers 1, another animated film, but I do see myself rewatching this one because it's Transformers, and Transformers are cool. I'm still not a huge Transformers fan. You know, I like the first Michael Bay movie. I like Rise of the Beasts, and I really like Bumblebee. But this one is my favorite of the Transformers films as this moment in time. This movie, big surprise, very big surprise, because the trailers may look like trash. I came back from Fantastic Fest and this had already been out. This like released the day I went to Fantastic Fest, and so I hadn't seen it. And then I came back from Fantastic Fest and I freaking saw Megalopolis before this because I thought Megalopolis was going to be better, and then it really wasn't. Really was not. So yeah. Transformers 1. If the trailers look like trash and you haven't checked it out, I would definitely check this one out. We're almost there. Number 25, The Last Stop in Yuma County. This is a pretty good thriller movie where you have these a bunch of people get stuck at a gas station. Some of them are bank robbers, and then as more and more people start arriving, more and more people start getting stuck there. Tension starts going up, and then it all explodes. I thought it was very good, and then once everything explodes, the movie loses quite a bit of steam. It's not as interesting. And the movie doesn't end on the greatest note, but yeah, very interesting, tense bottleneck thriller. Number 24, Bone Lake. I saw this one at Fantastic Fest again, and I don't think this one's released yet, and I don't really know when it will release. I heard it described as Speak No Evil, but horny. So that's kind of what I heard before seeing it. And I don't know if I'd seen Speak No Evil at this point before. But that's what I've heard it described as. And it kind of like that. This is a very funny horror comedy where you have these two couples that get booked at this Airbnb together, and then one of the couples is like sexually uncomfortable towards the other couple. And then there's a lot of twists and reveals and turns. This movie like really goes crazy in that third act. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. One of the most fun experiences I had at Fantastic Fest. My whole theater loved it, and we were all laughing. So definitely keep an eye out for Bone Lake. It is a very funny horror comedy. Number 23, My Old Ass. Essentially, this girl, Maisie Stella, gets high on shrooms one night, and then Aubrey Plaza, her older self, shows up and gives her life advice. And then it's up to Maisie Stella to decide if she wants to take that advice or just kind of let her life play out the way it plays out. And it's a very interesting movie on that subject of should you just experience life or should you listen to it like plays out the scenario of what if you could go back and tell your younger self something, what would you tell them? Like, would you want to experience the things that made you who you were, or would you want to change stuff? So it's a very interesting play on that, and yeah, just a very, very good film. It's also very funny as well. So, number 22 is Sing Sing. I had no idea what this was. This was my local theater's mystery movie one month. So me and my dad went to see this, and we both really enjoyed it. Essentially, you have Coleman Domingo, who gets imprisoned at Sing Sing prison, and there is this like play program there where people are acting and stuff in it. And it's about them just like having this program for the inmates to put on plays and stuff, right? What's very interesting is that it's true events, and a lot of the inmates in this movie were actual inmates from the Sing Sing prison. So that was just very cool. So very good film. Maybe we'll get some Oscar love. Who knows? 21, Civil War, the latest and possibly last film from Alex Garland. And it is like, what if the United States today went into a civil war? What would a modern day civil war look like? And it's very interesting, very thought provoking of like, oh, this could actually happen if, I don't know, people just keep being people the way they are, right? Instead of just like being nice people, right? Just be nice people, talk to people, find some common ground on some shit, right? Um, that's like what this film's doing, right? Without ever making any political statements or anything, right? So it was very interesting, and very good, very thought provoking, kind of scary in a way, right? So yeah. And now we've made it to the top 20 in 3 hours and 20 minutes. So I have done it. I did not take, I almost like cut my time in half. So I'm gonna fly through these because I have a whole video talking about them. So if you want like super in-depth thoughts, you do that. But number 20 is The Order. Essentially, you have Nicholas Hoult playing a white supremacist in this film, and Jude Law is an FBI agent trying to stop him. And yeah, very interesting, like cat and mouse game between the two of them. And I believe it's based off true events, so it is very interesting. And there's some bank robbing, and robbing banks is cool. So there you go. Not the white supremacist stuff, that's not cool, but the robbing banks part, that is cool. Number 19 is Cuckoo. This is a horror film that I don't want to talk a whole lot about because there is a lot of crazy shit that happens in here. But essentially, you have Hunter Schafer that goes off to this like German village in the Alps of some sort, like a resort, and Dan Stevens is there, and he has a creature that he can have do his bidding. And yep, that's about all I'm going to go into. Crazy ass movie, pretty good scares. Number 18, Snack Shack. I enjoyed this movie probably a lot more than anyone else because it was filmed in Nebraska, and that's where I am from. So it's pretty cool to see all this Nebraska stuff in a movie. You also have Gabriel LaBelle in here. I really like that dude. Really fun, just like summer coming of age movie. Really funny moments in here too. So, yep, Snack Shack, good one. Check it out. Number 17, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm not huge into the Planet of the Apes stuff. I've only seen the most recent trilogy of films. And so a follow-up to the Caesar trilogy was intriguing to me, but I didn't know what they were going to do, and I thought they did a very good job of taking it like a couple hundred years into the future and seeing like this degraded world and what's happened, like extrapolate what happened in a couple years based off the previous trilogy and like extrapolate that significantly. So yeah, very good. And yeah, for someone that's not huge into Planet of the Apes, I very much dug this one. Number 16, we have Gladiator 2. I've only seen the original Gladiator twice, and I actually prefer this one to the original. Oh my god, blasphemy. Kill me. Pitchforks, torches, all that fun stuff right in the streets. But yeah, this one's more of like my type of thing, summer blockbuster type thing. With gladiator fights and stuff. Like, yes, is it over the top? Mm-hmm. But I kind of like it about that, or I kind of like that about it. Excuse me. You have a lot of cool people in here, like Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington, Joseph Quinn. So, yeah, very, very fun movie that I feel like I liked a lot more than everyone else on planet Earth. Number 15, Hundreds of Beavers, another massive surprise for me. I had no idea what this film was. I just kept seeing everyone like, oh, I really liked Hundreds of Beavers on Letterboxd. And so eventually I checked it out in December. And when you say a black and white silent film, like no dialogue film, that is a slapstick comedy that is very obviously green screened, I'd be like, oh my god, that is the last thing that I would like. And my god, I love this freaking thing. It is so funny and it is so charming. And For some reason, it just worked for me. I honestly don't know if I could explain it, but it just worked for me. So, this has been one of my favorite movies to recommend to people because it is very, very funny and very good. Number 14, Alien Romulus. I love the first two Alien films. I don't really care about anything after that. I mean, Prometheus and Covenant are all right, but 3 and 4 are kind of trash. So getting a Fede Alvarez Alien movie, I'm like, yes, please give it to me now, because Fede Alvarez is incredible. And so he very much made the third best Alien film. And yeah, this does everything that those first two films did incredibly. And yeah, very good. If you like Alien, watch this shit. Number 13 is Heretic, another secret screening at Fantastic Fest. But yeah, I went and saw this one again in theaters. Essentially, you have these two Mormon missionary girls. I don't know if they're missionaries. I don't know why I say that. They're Mormon girls that are going around trying to spread their religion to people and who have requested more information. And Hugh Grant is one of those people. They go to Hugh Grant's house and then they like go into this whole like game with him where he's trying to break their faith, and stuff. And the movie is very smart because it has Hugh Grant like trying to tear down their religion the entire movie, but then they have the two Mormon girls like rebuttal him, right, and stand up for themselves. So it's not like a one-sided thing, It is it gives power to both sides. So it's like balanced, So yeah. Number 12 is Anora. I also saw this one at Fantastic Fest, and I expected to like this movie. I did not expect to love this movie. This is one of the funniest movies of the year, especially once you get halfway through. There's a scene at the house. Then after that, and that's like the funniest scene of the entire year. So yeah, this one's getting a lot of awards season love, as it should. Mikey Madison for Best Actress, please. Number 11 is Nosferatu. This is my favorite version of the classic Dracula story, like this movie specifically. I think all the performances here are great. This is easily Robert Eggers' best film for me personally. And yeah, just a very well done horror film that is shot beautifully, has an amazing story, and is another good defense of why vampire films are pretty dope right now. Number 10, Smile 2. The original Smile is like one of my favorite modern horror films. And so I was interested to see what they were going to do with this one, but I wasn't quite sure. And I think they made a damn good sequel to it. So yeah. The only thing that really bothered me about this one is that, again, it does that thing where you don't really know what's reality and what's not. But for some reason, it didn't bother me as much in this one as it did all the other films I mentioned that for. But it still bothered me, and I wish they had done it. If they hadn't done that, this would have been even higher. Number 9, Love Lies Bleeding. Really odd movie to describe. It's like lesbian bodybuilders. And there's like some not a cartel, but like some shady people business going on in the background with Ed Harris and Dave Franco. So a wild ass movie, but really fun and very good movie. So yeah, I saw this one and it's been near the top of my list for the entire year. I saw it like way back in like March, April, long ass time ago. Number 8. Hey, I actually watched this movie last night. The Substance. Yes. This is the best body horror film I have ever seen. Insane batshit movie that the entire time I was at the film festival of Fantastic Fest, people were saying, "Oh my God, you need to go check out The Substance," and then people were leaving the festival, going across town in Austin, Texas, to a different theater to watch The Substance and then came back to the festival and were telling everyone how good it was. And so when my dad picked me up from the airport after getting back home from Fantastic Fest, we went straight to the theater and saw The Substance. Wild ass movie, incredible. Number 7 is Longlegs, the Osgood Perkins directed Nicolas Cage as the Buffalo Bill type character, Silence of the Lambs /7 homage film. Pretty much any of the criticisms I had for this film, I don't really care about anymore. The first time I watched it, because the second time it all made sense. Honestly, the only thing I still don't like about this film is like the whole doll thing. I don't like the doll thing. I don't really like, spoiler alert, that there's like a second person working with Longlegs. I just don't like that. The whole part with like him hailing Satan and stuff, I was like, I don't know if I like that. The first time I watched it, the second time I watched it, I'm fine with it. So yeah, Longlegs, incredible. Number 6, Furiosa Mad Max Saga. Again, I feel like I like this one a lot more than other people. I'm not huge into Mad Max stuff, but Fury Road is an incredible film. This film is also an incredible film. So, yeah, if you like Fury Road, it's more like Fury Road stuff, but just with Furiosa and a different type of story where you have like this epic odyssey of her life, right? So, yeah. Number 5, the biggest surprise of the entire year for me by far is Wicked Part 1. Whatever, just Wicked Now. I thought that I was not going to care for this movie whatsoever, and so Color Me Shocked when I watched it, I genuinely loved it, and that's in my top 5 of the year. So yeah, can't wait for Wicked for Good, and yeah, I barely have any criticisms for this film because what they were going for. I think they succeeded at everything they were going for with this film. They just, I'm just not huge into musicals, so I don't see myself rewatching this one, even though I went and saw this twice in theaters. So, goddamn Wicked, you are incredible. Number 4 is Abigail. This is my favorite vampire film I have ever seen. It is so much fun. That's just weird the way I said scene there. Scene. But anyways, yes, this is my favorite vampire film I have ever seen. Hilarious cast of characters, hilarious quotes in this film. I think I've seen this film the most of all the films I've seen this year. I think I've seen Abigail the most. I think I've seen Abigail 4 times. Yeah, right there, 4 times. Such a fun film. So yeah, love Abigail. Number 3, Terrifier 3. I absolutely adore the Terrifier franchise. I adore Art the Clown. I love like everything about Terrifier 2. Yeah, like Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3 are like some of my favorite like modern horror films right now. This franchise firing on all cylinders. I love this entire franchise so much. So yeah, I'm a Terrifier fan. Got to see this at the world premiere at Fantastic Fest, so that made me super duper happy. And yeah, I love Terrifier. Number 2, got the shirt. Let's fucking go, baby. Deadpool and Wolverine. One of the most fun movies I've seen all year. Absolutely love this film. Yeah. I mean, you have Deadpool and Wolverine right down in the corner there. They've been there the whole time. They've been here the whole time. So yeah, this movie is insanely fun. The first time I saw it, I had issues with like the way the plot worked and some stuff like that. But after rewatching it, who gives a shit? This movie is awesome. So yeah, let's fucking go all day long, baby. But number 1, the best movie I saw all year, Strange Darling. Yes, Strange Darling. Yeah, I expected to like this movie. I did not expect to love it so much that it became my favorite movie of the year and the only film I gave a 5 out of 5 rating to on Letterboxd. That was the new release in 2024. So yeah, this is also another movie that I love recommending to people, and I don't really like telling people a whole lot about it. So Strange Darling, incredible film. Please check it out. And it is, yes, number one on my list of favorite movies of 2024. And that does it. I sped through this live stream way quicker than I thought I was going to. But yes, I did it. I watched. I did. Yeah, I did it. I watched 222 movies this year, and I just ranked them all in like 3.5 hours. Man, it's so tough to watch that many movies and remember them all because there's so much. That's literally like half the movies I watched last year. I watched like 500 and something movies last year. So like almost half the movies I watched last year were just new releases. That's a lot to um, take in and remember, especially when some of them are bad. Um, so yeah, that does it for this live stream. I hope you enjoyed, and um, I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, my brain is mush now, so I don't really know what else to say. So, um, bye.